Welcome to a special Saturday night edition, a Saturday soiree, a Saturday night live, Saturday night, whatever you want to call it, a special Cup of Ray, Sports Web, Bucks Report. We're talking Buccaneers football tonight, but before we get started, everybody, you know what the big man always says. There's three things you got to do for us, but go ahead and get a piece of paper and a pencil. We're going to write this one down. Stand by.
Bring your passion. Bring your excitement, but please don't bring your jock strap, Jack.
Which is ironic. I thought you were going to say don't bring any nonsense because that's usually what I bring to the table. It's a special Saturday night edition of Cup of Ray with Harry the Greek. And we're bringing you some Buccaneer football talk and any other football talk. We're talking lines tonight. We're talking anything you want to talk about. We've got the phone lines working, 727-239-9792. It's on the bottom scroller. Call in tonight and talk with us. You got any questions, any upcoming games, some lines? How do you feel about the Bucks at Vikings, Bucks at Falcons tomorrow? We're going to find out how Harry the Greek feels in just a minute. Thanks for joining us for a Saturday night Cup of Ray. Welcome back. And, we're talking today. We're going up against Championship Saturday, right? All kinds of great games today. We watched one. You want a biscuit or two on the Michigan game there. Michigan beating Northwestern.
I like to refer to it as cheddar.
Want some cheddar. Okay. If you want to be cheesy about it, go ahead.
Actually, I'm a huge Northwestern fan. I didn't really like the Tiny 10 that much.
Yeah.
And, being from Chicago, I really always liked Northwestern. So that goes to show you, I don't bet with my heart, Ray.
No, I know you don't bet with your heart. I was actually rooting for Northwestern just because I hate Ohio State. And the same reason why I'm rooting for the Florida Gators tonight versus Alabama. And, it's not so much just because I'm a Gators fan and we're here in Florida. And I know we've got a lot of Seminole fans on, even here on Bucks Report, a lot of us associated with, or a lot of people associated with the Bucks Report. Been a Gators fan my entire life. Of course, you guys know I go Gators, Miami, FSU, USF, even Florida Atlantic. I root for all the teams. And I just root for good football. But we're going up against it today. It's Championship Saturday. And even the NFL thought it upon themselves to put two games on. They have two games on tonight. So we didn't know if you guys would want to talk about Bucks or not tonight, talking about tomorrow's game at Atlanta versus the Falcons, a very important game. Of course, the Bucks being 8-5, Atlanta not having much to play for other than to be a spoiler at this point.
Oh, they're going to throw the kitchen sink. Trust me. They got nothing to lose. Going back to that Gator game, Ray,
right?
They're actually getting some respect. That line was, the Gators were getting 17.5 points.
What is it now?
It's down to 16.
Yeah. But
they got some hope.
Yeah, but what's the Bucks and Falcons game at tomorrow? What's the over under on that game? Come on. You want to tease it a little first?
I will. I don't mind talking about it. And I want everybody who does wager.
Right.
It's really funny. This game never moved from -5 all week long, and all of a sudden it went to 6 and then 6.5. But what's really amazing?
What?
The total combined score over and under the total.
Right.
It opened up at 52, went to 53, then 53.5, and I woke up the next morning. It's down to 48.
I would bet the under on that game, and let me tell you why. Number one, I don't think the Falcons are going to score much against the Buccaneers with defense, and I'm not saying that I don't think Tom Brady and the boys can get off and get some points, but you're looking at maybe a 23-21 ball game. Even that would be the over under. I don't think the Falcons score more than 17 points, and that's if they have a good day.
If they score 17 points, Pray, I'm going to have to lean toward the over a little bit, and I'm going to explain why. The only thing the Buccaneers have to do in this game, truly,
right,
is stop the initial surge that the Atlanta Falcons are going to put on them in the first quarter and a half. After that, it'll be game over. So if they hold them to at least 10
Right.
points or under, you are absolutely correct. I would love the under, but it's scaring the ever daylights out of me.
Well,
They are begging you. Vegas is begging you to bet the over in this game. It takes millions of dollars just to get the line to move 1 point.
Yeah.
One.
Well, and the irony is, as we talked, of course, good news, guys, every guys and girls out there, we know that Tyner, Pinion, and Suckup are going to be in. Of course, the special teams unit gets back in. They're going to be able to play this weekend. Rojo's still not going to play. And, so let's put that aside for a second. Or let's talk about it up front there. The fact that line did or did not move all week is basically Vegas or the bettors. People are putting their money behind the fact that they just did not think that special teams was going to have an impact on this game.
Yes and no. More importantly, I'd really like to talk about the left tackle not playing in this game. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's a great idea that he's not playing. Not because he's not good. Let me clarify that.
Because he's had a good year.
It's not because of that. It's going to make Tampa run the football more because they're not going to risk injury in these next 3 games. Listen to me. They're going to run this football. If they do, they will control this game.
Right.
It'll be the best thing for them because everybody knows that really understand sports, that it's a lot easier to run the ball than to pass it.
Yeah, unless you're Bruce Arians and a no risk it, no biscuit system and taught Byron Leftwich as an offensive coordinator. Then it seems like there's really no good reason to want to run the football.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll run Bruce Arians right out of town myself if he gets Tom Brady hurt because his backside's not being protected. Run the football.
Yeah.
Period.
I got to tell you, though, not knowing what they're going to do. I mean, obviously, Donovan Smith not playing, Donovan going into the COVID protocol, we know as well. And again, that also not moving the line. I think basically people were saying early in the season, the narrative was Tom Brady, he's going to set the world on fire. The Bucs are going to outscore everyone by 50 points. And basically, they've come around to the fact that this team's starting to come together at the right time. We're starting to show positives in the run game, or we're starting to show positives. The defense is starting to play together. But I think people, I would say the reason why the line, and you tell me because you're the one who would know, the reason why the line hasn't moved that much, or the reason why it stayed stagnant the way it did, is because people are just tired of winning and or losing with the Bucs this year. People are just like, that's one of those games, because you and I talk about those games you don't want to touch. You'll talk about a game, you'll say, I don't like it.
This game right here is almost a trap game. Even though I don't think that Tampa is going to have a problem winning this football game, this is almost a trap game. This is one of the reasons why. For people that don't really understand, let me learn you something today, as we say in Florida.
Here we go.
Okay. The line opened up at 5. Tampa's a far superior team at every facet of the game, at every skilled position, Ray.
Right.
That means if Atlanta Falcons were in Tampa, they would have only been an 8-point favorite. I really want you to think about this for a second.
I gotta correct you there, though. There is one facet that Atlanta Falcons are better than the Buccaneers at.
Please entertain me with this one.
The kicker position. Their kicker, I think his name is Koo. He's the number 1 kicker in the NFL. So I'll give him that. Of course, the Buccaneers, we're not having to worry. Nothing like Dan Bailey and the Vikings last weekend with Ryan Suckup this year. We're not worrying about kicking as much. Kicking hasn't been a narrative, if you will. Of course, although it has really, if you think about it, going against Cairo Santos and the fact that the Buccaneers lose a close one. But the fact that the Buccaneers have had a solid kicking game this year, it's not as prevalent. But prevalent is a big word.
Oh my God, he's learning me today.
But I just wanted to correct you though. There's one position I'll definitely give the Falcons a little heads up on, and that's the kicker.
Hey, I love Tampa.
And of course, if the COVID would have stayed, if the kicker, if the special teams unit would have still been in a COVID protocol, that kicker probably would have been even more of a glaring weakness that the Buccaneers would have brought into this game. Although I don't think it's a weakness.
Absolutely, without question. But going back to that line,
yes,
the reason why it's so weird, if you really think about it, if you take both combined records, and Tampa is one of the favorites to go to the Super Bowl this year, one of the top 3 teams in the NFC.
Okay.
And Atlanta has 0 chance.
Yeah.
This game should be 12 or 13 points. But here's where Vegas gets very smart. Tampa has not covered a game that has been a big favorite by more than 4 points on the road this year yet.
Yeah.
Period. They haven't, because they're starting slow. Opposing teams are giving them their best in the first quarter and a half, and then Tampa makes really good adjustments on defense for the most part. Again, for the most part.
Right.
And that's why they've been pulling out these games, i.e. the game against the New York Giants.
That hurt.
They were 13-point favorites in that game, right?
That hurt.
And you do remember in the first half, I absolutely loved the Giants getting 7.5 points in the first half.
Yes, you did.
and the Giants were winning that game.
Oh.
But by no means did I think the Tampa was going to lose. And they had a nice little hole they had to climb out of. But Tampa was -9 in the second half. And
Right.
I cleaned up.
Yes.
You remember we were at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol.
Were we?
I swear to God, we
The
were
food was
pounding.
good that night.
We
but
were
the food's
eating-
usually pretty good down at Deck Bar and
crab
Grill.
legs, chicken wings. God, what are those shrimp that they have on that Barbie on those skewers?
Oh, I did not have one. You kept offering, and I said no, thank you. I'm funny about. Oh, we got a
actually
caller.
have a caller.
Let's go ahead and take a caller here. Let's see here. Caller, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Well, this would be Mr. Peter Blake from Clearwater. How you doing?
Mr. Peter Blake, I'm good. How'd you like that production meeting you, Harry, and I had over there at the Outback Steakhouse today?
Let me tell you something. And we have production meetings like that. We're going to be very, very productive in the future. How are you guys doing, man?
Brother, I'm great. And thank you so much. Of course, those of you out there that don't know who this is Mr. Peter Blake, the flagship star here on the Bucks Report. Probably my best friend, but my co-host on the, or I'm his co-host, but our co-host on game days down at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol. And Peter, what you got?
I just wanted to tell you guys, you look great. I'm looking forward to hearing from Harry. Harry the Greek is the man right there. Any of you guys doubt what he has to say? Don't, because I made that mistake last week. And I could have probably been in the money if I would have taken his advice, and I didn't. So definitely take his advice. I'm looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say. And I just wanted to tell everybody out there, not especially you and Harry and Keith and everybody that's a part of Bucks Report. I really appreciate everything that you guys do and everything that you've done ever since I've been out since Wednesday night. I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys.
Love you, brother.
Absolutely appreciate all the prayers and all the well wishes. It means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, and Peter, well, we've talked so much, and I'm not going to get too much of it on here. And we're going to be talking. We'll cover this a little more tomorrow at our game day coverage for the Bucks Falcons. We'll be down at the Deck Bar and Grill. Pregame show starts at 11 a.m. Cup of Ray will be on before that. But with the week you've had, and I'm just glad to hear that we're able to get to a place where I'm glad to hear Mom's doing okay. And I'm sorry, I'm so sorry about our loss, and we love Randy, and I don't want to get any more into it. Anybody came out and watched those Bucks games last year with Peter and I at the big Bucks game day shows, no doubt knew Randy, huge Bucks fan, was a great guy. And again, Peter, thanks for all your support, brother, because without you, this isn't happening.
Absolutely, my friend. And I seen the sound test. The sound test was awesome. So you guys are just killing it. And I'm watching the show as we speak. So I'll let you guys have at it, but definitely call in, talk to these guys about Bucks and Falcons tomorrow.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, it feels good. It's a rivalry game, and we'll see how the Bucks come out without Donovan Smith. And of course, the victim of volume. He won't play in this game. So we'll see what Leonard Fournette and Shady McCoy and possibly Keyshawn Vaughn are going to do. So, guys, I'll let you have it from here. Love you guys, and keep on tuning in, all right?
Love
Peter,
you, brother. Thanks for reaching out, my friend.
Peter, you're
Absolutely.
great people. And remember one thing, my brother, great things always happen for great people and good families. You're a very blessed man, Peter Blake.
Hey, well, we're very blessed to have you a part of the Bucks Report family. And look, I'm only as good as the people around me. I think there's a great coach that said that in Tampa Bay Buccaneer history. That would be Mr. Tony Dungy. So, guys,
Yes,
I'm really happy that you're a part of this family, Harry. And, of course, Ray, you're my brother from another mother. Everybody else
Always.
involved. Love you guys.
I love you, brother. We'll see you tomorrow morning early.
All right. Bright and early.
Bright and early at the Deck Bar and Grill at Isla del Sol, powered by 320 Solar. Power up and gain that energy independence.
And I'll bring, I promise, the breakfast sandwiches again. I am a really good lackey.
I'll actually eat one this time.
That sounds good. Sounds good. All right, guys.
All right, brother. Take care. Take care, Peter. We'll talk to you
Later.
soon. And I'm glad Peter called. I wasn't going to go into this, but I'm going to go ahead and go into this. And you know what? It's a Saturday night show, guys. If you're going to let me, if you'll allow me, Harry and I, we've been talking about this, and it's been a narrative here. And one of the things we love doing what we do. We love getting involved. We love talking about it. We love breaking stuff down. But more importantly for us is the interaction. Is you guys? Is our Bucks Report family. You don't get up to 70,000 followers on Facebook. And then, of course, you take into the other platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, even Twitch.
Whatever Twitch is.
Whatever. But we're continuing to expand. That said, and I'm not going to mention any names, but it's personal. You start throwing eggs at the house. I might ignore it once or twice. You start doing it consistently, or you do something completely so obtuse that I'm going to call you out on it. There's a certain guy on Facebook, and he's got a show. He used to be on Bucks Report, and he usually has between 1 and 2. Oh, he usually has 1 or 2 followers a week. It's probably, a friend or a family member. And this guy knows who I'm talking about. And if you happen to be watching this show, which you probably are, because Lord knows you're not rewatching any of your shows, there's not a lot of stuff going on there. But you took shots this week, and I didn't have a problem with what happened. I'll let Mr. Peter Blake take care of his battles. And he got a little disservice on Monday night. And of course, by now, if those of you out there following Bucks Report, you've seen it, you've heard about it. I'm not going to get into it. Definitely not going to name any names. We know how we feel about it. But then this guy, he takes it completely out of context, which I get, because this guy, he's not very bright. And the reason why I say that is because when I said he used to be on the Bucks Report, you guys know, and of course, any of you out there, someday you may be associated with us, because we're family and we're all about getting everybody involved. It's literally what it's all about. This guy had a platform, and we were giving him an opportunity to come on our shows. We actually had him come out quite a couple times, 2 or 3 times. He came out to last year's live game day shows. And one of the things he did one time, and I'm just going to go ahead and say this, Peter and I were on a live show. We gave this guy a shot, and he literally came on and dropped a burp. Completely rude and crude right there. And I understood exactly the kind of person he was. I understood exactly where he was coming from, but we continued to give him a platform, and we were happy to have him on there. And I was even approached several times by different members of the Bucks Report family, and I was asked what I thought about this guy. And I said, you know what? Let's give him a chance, because we're all about giving everybody chances. Lord knows everybody in life needs a second, third, and some of us need 4th chances. But he continued to drop the ball. And by drop the ball, I mean seriously drop the ball. So he was no longer with us, which is fine. This week, he decided to take the thing that happened on Monday night between Peter and somebody else completely out of context. More importantly, he took shots at the entire Bucks Report family. And here's where I have a problem with it. Because if someone's taking a shot at the Bucks Report family, it's not me. I can get by that. I don't get offended by that. But they're actually taking shots at the entire Bucks Report family, meaning you guys, our followers, you, Harry the Greek, the dude, Joshua Cole Allen, Nick Citro. We're all family.
Johnny Dean,
the professor. And we're bringing it because we like to bring it. And we're not saying we're bringing anything better than what's going on down at the local sports bar and grill. What we're saying is, hold on, we got a caller. Let's go ahead and take this call, and I'll get back to it. I apologize. Good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Justin, and I'm calling from St. Pete.
Justin, how are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. How are you guys doing?
I'm fine, brother.
How you doing, Justin? What's on your mind?
Well, I've been watching you guys for, I'd say, the last couple of weeks. Huge Bucks fan. Love local sports. Big supporter of local sports and the Bucks. And I've made a little bit of money on listening to Harry the Greek. And to be honest with you, I was calling in to find out what his pick of the week is, or what his game of the week is, because I need Christmas money just like everybody else. So,
Justin, I this week is actually one of the harder weeks for me to handicap. However, if you stay tuned in the last 10 to 15 minutes of the show, I promise you will get my top 3 picks this week. And God willing, I go 3-0. I would have went 6 for 6 last week, but I lost the Cleveland game. It was a bum way to lose, but you know what? A year from now, Ray and Justin, it's still an L. No matter how they lost and didn't cover, they just didn't cover.
And I know one of your big games, Justin. I'm going to ask you a question, but I know one of your big games, so I'll save it for the end and talk about it, because I had a different take, but we'll get into that. But Justin, you got any games that you're looking at this week? Any games that you find particularly interesting, or maybe it got an interesting slant to it?
Honestly, I'm just rooting for the Bucks. At heart, I hate to say this, but I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm also a Bucks fan. The Cowboys, as you know, their season's pretty much lost. So I'm rooting for the Bucks. I'm born and raised in Tampa, but I'm also a Cowboys fan. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that, but
no,
I still root for the Bucks.
Buddy,
I still love the Bucks.
This is a friendly show.
My game is for the Bucks. Yeah, my game is for the Bucks this week, and I want to know what's going to happen. I want to know. I just need Harry the Greek to give me some knowledge.
Well, and Justin, don't apologize for being a fan of another team, because hey, even as Bucks fans, growing up as a Bucks fan, let's be honest, by the time December usually rolled around, the end of December, beginning of January, it's gotten later in the year as we've gone on and added teams and gotten that 17th week, and now we're going to add another team to the playoffs. And of course, the NFL is looking at next.
Are you talking about playoffs?
Now we're talking about adding that 17th game next season. But let's be honest, as Buccaneer fans, the love and passion is always there. Always compartmentalize that and put that to the side, because usually when it comes time for the playoffs, the Buccaneers have only made the playoffs 10 times in 44 seasons. But that's not the case.
Absolutely.
But that's not the case with 2020. At 8-5 and over a 90% chance of being in that playoff race, we got 3 exciting games going on. So, Justin, since we're going to get to the picks in a minute, of the 3 games remaining, we play Atlanta twice. Of course, we play at Atlanta tomorrow in Megatron's butthole.
Megatron.
I had to get that in because I knew you were going
Megatron's
to.
butthole.
Then we play next week at Detroit. Detroit's got that. Detroit, of course, they fire Matt Patricia. They got a little something to prove. There's probably a lot of guys fighting for their jobs, players and or possibly coaches. And then Atlanta, that third game. If the Buccaneers are going to have a stumble, let's just say they're going to lose one of the next 3. I don't see it, but if you had to pick, Justin, one of those 3 games, which one do you think the Bucs will have the most trouble with?
Honestly, I want to probably say Atlanta this week. And I just think a team like Atlanta, with their back against the wall, they got nothing to lose. I think they're out to prove a point. I think they're going to try to prove a point. They're going to try to smash it in our face. They're going to do that. That's what I think. And if they set that tone for this first game, it could set the tone for the second Atlanta game. Okay,
Ooh. And
possibly one.
Justin, you're actually on to something here. Actually,
what's he on to, Harry? Fill us in.
Am
I teasing the game out of you early here? Come on,
you're
let's
teasing
go
it
ahead.
a
Well,
little
Justin wants a little knowledge. Let's just throw caution to the wind. Let's throw the Bucs and Falcons game right up to the front. What are your thoughts as he plays with the soundboard?
Megatron's butthole.
I don't believe you just
Presents. Now this presents. No chance. 0. Atlanta has no chance in this game. The only chance that they have is going to be in the first half. Justin, I really appreciate that call, and I understand the apprehension, but I'm telling all Bucs fans, I wish I had Rick Hughes' soundboard here because I'd give you the Aaron Rodgers segment. Relax. RELAX. Relax.
And I'm behind. I'm with Harry on that one, Justin. But I get what Justin's saying, because that's the narrative that I would actually apply, is to say that Atlanta's going to come out inspired tomorrow. They seem to be playing definitely better than they were playing for Dan Quinn for Raheem Morris. I don't think Raheem Morris necessarily is guaranteed that job next season. I'm not even sure. Of course, some would say, and Rick Stroud and Tampa Bay Times ran a nice piece today that talks about Raheem Morris having been, because the
He's a
Buccaneers,
good writer too, by the way.
Yeah, he's all right. I taught him well.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
kidding. But the Buccaneers organization, they throw Raheem Morris goes from a defensive coordinator to goes from a defensive back coach to the coordinator to a head coach within like 6 weeks, right? Back in the day. And even then, I thought Raheem Morris, because he came up under and he showed promise. I mean, he was definitely a good coach, a player's coach. So I definitely think those Falcons will play inspired for him. But then I buy into Harry's narrative that means the Bucs will have to come out strong in that first half, because I think Atlanta, and like we said against the Vikings, the Bucs will have to take their best punch, but come back off the ropes. But I think in the end, talent wins, and the talent says the Buccaneers come out on top.
Well, they're the best team at every skill position out there,
except for kicker.
Okay, except for the kicker. But Justin, to answer your question, if you want that pick in that game, this is very tricky. Although I do believe that the Buccaneers are going to win the game actually big. The line right now is 6, in some places it's 6.5. If you can find the line between 5 and 5.5, 5 or 5.5, bet the Bucs minus the points. If it is 6, proceed with caution. Even though I think they're going to beat them by more, that 1 point can make a huge difference. And the reason why I'm saying that is Tampa has not covered on the road at a big point spread. They just haven't.
Yeah, I see.
But that 5 and 5.5, that's a sweet spot. And don't get fooled on that over and under. There's a reason why it's dropping 5 points this week. That's a lot. That's almost a touchdown.
Well, I think that takes into account, and Justin, you might have something to say about this, the Donovan Smith, the Rojo, losing these key players. I think as Buccaneer fans look at it and say, well, we can plug and play guys in there. We can put pieces. We sign Dan, I'm thinking of his name now, but we sign an offensive lineman for the depth. We have a Leonard Fournette, and we have a Shady McCoy.
It's a next man up mentality.
Right. So I think that from that standpoint, Buccaneers fans were still saying, I can buy the Bucs still winning by 7 or having a big game and beating them by a bunch. But I think the national people are thinking, well, maybe it's going to be under because the Bucs aren't going to be able to score as many points. I definitely don't see Atlanta.
I don't think that's the case. I honestly don't believe that the general public in Vegas believes that Tampa's not going to put the points up on the board. I had this conversation. It was more like a disagreement with somebody that actually lives in Chicago, and that is a very, very good sports handicapper. And he made a very solid point. It's not because Tampa's not going to be able to score, because Atlanta can't stop Florida State. Okay, let's just get this straight. Tampa is going to put up points on the board. The problem is can Atlanta move the ball on this vaunted defense of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Well, I would actually say, oh, we lost Justin. I would actually say, and we were talking too much. Poor Justin, probably. You got a lot of messages. Don't look at my messages. Might be something. Hey, my Tinder messages are on there.
What's Pornhub?
Get off of that. But I think that from that standpoint, I think the Bucs score 42 points on their own, and so from that
then
standpoint
if you honestly believe that the Buccaneers are going to score 42 points,
you got to go over.
then you have to play over. But I see this game at halftime being relatively close, kind of close to the vest, and there might be 20 or 22 points scored in that first half.
Wow.
After that, I don't see a lot of scoring for Atlanta.
Nice.
And if the game goes the way I think it's going to go, Tampa's going to pull their starters out in the fourth quarter. I really hope that the coaches of the Buccaneers are watching this. If you have the game in hand, there is no reason to play your starters in this game. Zero, none. Keep them healthy. Play vanilla football. Don't give the potential playoff teams any tape on what you're going to do on offense. That means with Godwin, Scotty Miller. That goes with Gronkowski. Everything. You want to know the truth? Tampa could dictate and tell them ahead of time what the next 3 plays are running.
Yeah.
And you line up a shirt for a shirt, I still don't believe that the Atlanta Falcons can stop it.
Well, and that's why when Bruce Arians, I know he wants to be, our guys are ready to run through walls, our guys are ready to, but when he comes out after Rojo gets the pin this week, and before the COVID protocol, and he says, "Oh, we're looking to see what kind of work Rojo gets in practice on Wednesday and Thursday," and I'm thinking, okay, going back now, we realized that we did need Chris Godwin in there because obviously Godwin's skills were needed, because this Buccaneers offense 3 weeks ago was still searching for an identity. But especially now, I know that he just said 2 weeks ago that Rojo needs 20 carries a game. We all buy that. We got another caller coming in. Let's go ahead and take this call.
That's my buddy. I hope he's calling.
Good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
That's John Dean in Pittsburgh.
Professor. How you doing, Johnny?
All right. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm
First
glad.
off-
I'm glad Justin saved me from sticking my foot in my mouth. So go ahead. I'm
Hi,
sorry.
Johnny. How are you, sir?
Okay. What's up, guys? What's up, Harry?
Nothing much, my
First
brother.
question: What's up with the beard and the young, fresh baseball player look there?
You like that? Harry said I look good. I think
You looking kind of sexy.
Well,
Welcome to the quiet storm.
Looks like he's trying out for the Rays, man. What the hell?
I updated my grinder picture tonight, my profile picture, so I wanted to make sure I look I look good.
What's a grinder?
He's getting his grinder on, man.
Getting that grinder on, baby. So, Johnny, what do you think? What are you thinking about? You thinking about tomorrow's game, or you got any other games you're looking at this weekend as pretty hot picks? How about a game that's going on right now?
I'm watching Buffalo and Denver and waiting for the next one.
I need a score in that game, please.
Buffalo's up by what, 17?
35-13, they're about to score. So,
Yes.
no, Denver got the ball at the 1 yard line on their own 1 yard line.
Oh, yeah. I mean, of course, I didn't see. Of course, Buffalo's.
What quarter and
strong.
how much time, if you don't mind me asking?
Third quarter, 6:14 left.
Oh, this is a lock.
A lot of game.
This is what we call
this
out
game-
there in the gambling
this,
world.
It's going to be a blowout, man.
This is
They
what we
might pull Josh. They might pull Josh Rosen out by the fourth quarter.
They should. Josh Rosen.
Josh Rosen. Hold on, say it with me. Come on, give me the fingers. Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen.
Somewhere right now. Every time you say Josh Rosen 3 times.
Sneak that in without nobody noticing.
No, we got it.
Oh, we got it.
Of course, every time we say Josh Rosen 3 times, Rick Hughes gets his wings.
No, but in the gambling world, Johnny, this is what we call this. I appreciate the update in the game. We call this a rocking chair game. It's in the middle of the third quarter, and I'm not even sweating.
Why would you?
Oh,
Yep.
This is
I think they're going to put Blaine Gabbert in for Denver.
Both good quarterbacks. I mean,
Oh,
either
stop
one. Hey, I think Blaine Gabbert gets in the fourth quarter. This is my prediction. By the fourth quarter tomorrow, Blaine Gabbert's doing mop-up duty there in Atlanta.
he's mop-up duty, all right. He's going to be carrying the mop.
No,
I
mean,
think that's absolutely possible, Ray.
I think
actually.
so, JD.
Okay.
And
I'm
here's,
kidding.
Here's the kicker. Blaine Gabbert comes in for Tom Brady, so Tom Brady can take some because we're up by 17 or more in the fourth quarter, and Blaine Gabbert's still pitching biscuits to Mike Evans, trying to get him to that 1,000 yards.
Ray, have you forgotten that Donovan Smith is not going to be in, and that means Joshua Wells is right there? unless Ted Larson starts, and I don't see Ted Larson starting at left tackle. Although
No.
I believe
He can play. He can play left tackle, and he can play left tackle without a problem.
Was I the only person this week though when it happened? Johnny, I cut you off. I'm sorry. Was I the only person that at least for 1 second thought Tristan Wirfs to left tackle? I mean, I'm not saying we're at a point in this. Well, why not? I mean, this is the heir apparent to left tackle in this Buccaneers team anyway.
You don't want to experiment with a rookie like that right away, dude.
Thank you.
Just don't.
I
Okay.
didn't want to say that. You'll never hear me say the word wrong.
So you don't. So what you're saying though is that other than Ryan Jensen at center, and you got Marpet and Kappa still looking good, but they're obviously guards 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. Although Marpet played center, but I mean, you're talking about taking the second or third stringer at depth offensive lineman and putting him on Tom Brady's backside instead of your best offensive lineman that could play, or your best option at tackle.
Well, let me ask: Has Larson even come through the protocols yet?
I don't know. I tried to check on that, and I couldn't figure it. I didn't see it, but he's definitively a guard. I mean, he has played multiple positions on the offensive line, but I saw him as a guard.
Yeah, he played right tackle there for a while with us, and his main position was.
He's
guard,
also played guard, and I think
Yeah.
he's had a couple of snaps
Well,
at
his
center.
main position with us was guard when he was here last.
Did you know the history behind this kid? Johnny, that he's from Palm Harbor. He played at Palm Harbor University. He's from Tampa Bay. And back in
Yes,
2000, did you know back in 2000, and I think maybe you and I don't know if you and I would
I
spoke
think
about
he
this.
also
but
played for the Bears. If
yeah,
this is the same
for a
Ted
cup of
Larson,
coffee, yeah.
yeah, I'm not just saying a
he
cup
has
of coffee. They
started
got,
everywhere he went.
that's
so.
right. He went from Tampa to Chicago, and then he bounced around the league, or he went
And then he
right
came
back to
back.
Tampa. But he played 3 or 4 different positions on the Chicago
He's
offensive
got
line,
some
and
versatility.
Yeah, he's
very
very-
serviceable.
Yeah, Ted's versatile.
Yeah. And he's also an avid
Yeah.
fisherman and golfer. He actually saved the lives of 3 kayakers back in 2011 when they got stuck off the coast here. He got heard to call over the Coast Guard radio.
You remember that? There
Oh
you go.
yeah. Yeah. No, I love this kid. And I love the fact that he's got a home, that the whole story here being, from the Tampa Bay area. But I haven't heard definitively who the Bucs are starting at left tackle tomorrow.
If he's off the protocols, I don't know if I see him starting because he just came fresh into this scheme, so they'd have to dumb the scheme down for him.
Right.
And you don't want to dumb the scheme down for a left tackle. So there'll be some adjustments.
Okay.
Johnny, do you agree with me that Tampa should run the football tomorrow, primarily because of the fact that Donovan Smith is not playing? It's a lot easier to run block. I kind of led you into that.
Oh.
Johnny's got to think about it first because he knows he doesn't want to
depends on- All right, if you do that, then you're going to use a power side run, right? And that gets easy to defend against after you get wind that they're only going to run to this side.
And let me ask you this. And so a lot of people don't know what a power side run is. You mind educating some people out there?
That's when you have a weak side offensive line,
Mhm.
and they're set up basically for pass protection, and then you have a power side over on
Exactly.
the right side. We're going to say because
Right.
just because of Donovan Smith right at the moment.
I think tomorrow you're going to see a lot of 2 tight end looks, and they're just going to try to be maulers. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we do have Gronk, and that helps a lot because Gronk is probably the best blocking tight end in the game.
Even
No
at
doubt.
that's a strong statement, and I have to agree with you, Johnny, because even at his age, that man can still.
Well, 2 weeks ago he took a defensive tackle out, so that's by himself, and that's a lot to say for a tight end.
Yeah, no, that was solid. Yeah, he definitely he's going to be needed tomorrow. Although they've been running Gronk more on the right side, right? Haven't they put him more often than not? He's been on the right side next to Wirfs over there.
Gronk's been there with Wirfs, but he's been over with Donovan too. They've moved him around.
Yeah, that
They try
definitely
to hide him. I think they try to hide him a lot.
Gronk. Yeah,
You know what?
Yeah.
Joe Wells is going to be starting at left tackle.
is that Pat?
Josh Wells.
How did you know?
Because Pat knows everything.
Yes, it was Pat.
Pat knows. Pat's our guy. Pat literally knows. I mean,
See, Pat makes me smarter, and now you just made me look dumb.
I think Pat's got a direct line to over to Jason Light, which is awesome because Pat's a great guy.
Oh, Pat, thank you very much.
Well, I'll tell you what. If Josh Wells is starting, then that's a whoa, man. It's going to be a shit show. Excuse me.
That's okay.
Language.
Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. That's okay. That's going to be in Megatron's
Easy. We only reference it once a show. We're only allowed to do it once a show.
Who said?
So, Johnny, what else do you got? You got any other games you're looking at, or anything else about the Bucks game that you're interested in or looking for tomorrow?
I expect it to be a good win. I don't know, man. The offensive line bothers me, but you can't take one piece of the game and just think it's going to cost us the whole game because of one piece.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
But what a
They'll
game to
let-
have one hurt against a defense like Atlanta. I mean, you really think about
Right.
it. It could be worse. You could be
Right.
playing Pittsburgh, Chicago.
Chicago.
Indy.
Jesus. Yeah.
I mean, you go up against a line like that, and you got
Los Angeles.
a second and third string.
I don't want
left
to. I'm
tackle.
not going to make fun or light of it though, because it's those times that I think that. I think that you're exactly right, but I also think I'm not going to sit there and take it lightly.
Zero chance.
Man, every time you do that, I
there's no
swear to
chance.
God.
And every
You
time
can't
I've
take
done
it
it this
lightly.
year, I have been correct.
And
This
Johnny-
year, I have been.
Johnny said it last week as well. Johnny said absolutely no chance, and the Vikings didn't. In the first quarter, again, Buccaneers with that slow start. Johnny, can they come out tomorrow and get a better start? Come get out of the starting blocks, or are they going to trip out of the blocks again, but then find their kick in the fourth turn?
I'm not as big. I don't care if they start fast or not. Actually, it's easier to
Amen.
adjust. It's easier to adjust to if the other team comes out strong. It's easier to make those adjustments to them than to be in the lead and try to make an adjustment to something you don't need to adjust to.
As long as they're playing defense, I agree 1,000,000,000,000%. Is there anything bigger than trillion, Ray?
Gazillion.
Let's ask the professor.
Gazillion.
Who?
Yeah, Gazillion. He was right.
I told you guys are smarter than me. I just know gambling. I know how to work on cars and I gamble.
I know bytes, petabytes, decabytes, gigabytes.
Some kind of
I
bucks.
do expect
This
I do
bytes.
expect a good mixture of run and pass. I think Brady's going to get about 280 yards tomorrow
On 20 passes.
on 20-25 passes.
Man,
I don't want him to pass more than 20,
3
25
touchdowns?
times. I'm saying 2 touchdowns, maybe 3. You thought I was going to say a pick, didn't you?
no.
Okay, good. See, because that's a true blue fan.
It depends on how fast they score.
Yeah.
If they start scoring fast and then start running the ball, there's going to be a couple of running touchdowns. So
Do you think Raheem Morris has a shot at retaining that job as head coach at Atlanta Falcons at the end of the season?
no, I
No?
don't think Raheem Morris is. Would you take Raheem Morris because they're looking at Scott Pioli as well as the Lions are looking at Scott Pioli right now for general manager. Okay.
I didn't hear
And
that.
Yeah.
a couple of other people are already looking in there, so they're going to bring their coach. And if wherever Scott Pioli goes, I pretty much feel like that's where Bieniemy's going to end up.
Wow. That would be
Well,
actually that's a great narrative. I mean,
I don't know why everybody's so high on Bieniemy.
Well,
And I'm
because
going to be honest with you.
he's
I
learned
understand.
under Andy Reid though for
Okay,
like the last 5 years.
And you know what? So is someone else in Chicago. And so have a couple of other head coaches under Andy Reid. How's that working out for Philadelphia? How's this working out for the Chicago Bears?
That's a point.
Bieniemy, how's it working out for Bieniemy being offensive coordinator with the Chiefs, though?
That's great. And so was Matt Nagy.
Now wait. Now let me ask you something.
I don't remember anybody doing what Bieniemy's been doing.
Bieniemy being the offensive coordinator under Andy Reid in Kansas City sounds almost like a Byron Leftwich being an offensive coordinator under Bruce Arians in Tampa Bay. You start to wonder. I'm kidding because I know Bieniemy's a great offensive coordinator, but you know that Andy Reid is a finger on he's got his finger on he's feeling it. Yeah, sure. He's got his finger on the offense, and just like Arians did. But Johnny, you were so quick to point out to me. I rewatched my Cup of Ray from last Sunday, and because you said I was the biggest proponent of the whole is Bruce Arians calling the offensive plays. I just wanted to bring that up because I thought it was funny.
Well, see, Bieniemy is calling offensive plays. That's the thing. I'm saying hardly any head coach calls the plays. Dude. That's even thinking that is ridiculous. Unless it's like Bill Belichick don't call the offensive plays. Josh is doing that.
No, I'm kidding. I know Bieniemy's a good offensive coordinator. I just don't. In Atlanta, obviously, he doesn't have Patrick Mahomes, which Patrick Mahomes.
Talking about Pat, but then not the Mahomes. Seriously?
Yeah.
He just texted me, quote unquote, any offensive coordinator can be great with Mahomes under center.
Well, and so Pat and I are on the same wavelength there. Yeah. But go ahead, Johnny.
This isn't. Wait a minute. This isn't like oh, he just was discovered overnight. Bieniemy has been a
Yes.
strong contender for head coach for years.
Why
This
hasn't he
isn't
gotten the
just
job
something-
then?
Well, because, all right, you really want to know that?
Oh, here we
answer?
go.
Yes,
You
I really, really want.
you just opened
Because
up a
I
whole
want to know
you
because
just open up a whole can of
It's
Johnny Dean.
pure race.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole.
No, it's true. And I
well,
mean, he's
that's what you
I don't
asked.
agree.
That's what it is.
Sorry.
well, he's been year in and year out. I think Bieniemy's actually literally the reason why the NFL is readjusting or reimagining the Rooney Rule to make teams even more incentivized to have coaches that go on and interview and/or teams that hire them, because an Eric Bieniemy has interviewed over the last 3 or 4 years, and at the end of the thing, I'm left wondering, why didn't he get that job?
Yeah, for the last 6 years, he's been like the number one candidate and keeps getting overlooked, and that's ridiculous.
Yeah, even when it was still Alex Smith playing in Kansas City, but he was still
Yeah.
under Andy Reid, and you're still wondering why. And I, for a couple of years, I'm like, well, maybe he just doesn't want to leave. And you know what? Just like Jameis Winston wanted to go learn under Sean Payton for a year in New Orleans, maybe he likes the learning he's getting from Andy Reid out there in KC. But I've been completely shocked, and I know I can see Harry completely zipped up here because he doesn't want to have anything to do with that narrative. But I'd have to say I believe that to a certain extent.
There's no other. I don't see it any other way. You got 52 or 32 owners that are all old white people. What do you think? Come on.
What do I
got-
think?
if
You're
you got
making me come out of this
contending
rabbit hole, Johnny. Excuse me. Let me just say this. That narrative ended years ago. I
No, it
think the
did
best.
not.
I think
It
the.
did not.
I believe
Get
the
out of
best.
No, you got to get out of your comfort zone and go find out for real, buddy. Because I live in it. I've got a black niece and nephew, man. I got blood kin, and I watch her come home from college and get pulled over just walking down the street. You're dreaming.
Okay.
Well, and let me say this, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get in. it's like an MMA fight, and I'm going to jump in the middle here.
There's no MMA fight. I respect
No,
Johnny
I
Dean
know you
immensely, and he knows that.
But I'm going to say this, that the NFL doesn't announce this season that teams are going to start getting third-round compensatory picks if they have higher-ranked African-American coaches that they can push on to other teams and get hired to higher positions and or head coaching jobs. The NFL does.
But that now means we're hiring people because of race.
No. It's just saying that you've got to look at we got to look at the Eric Bieniemys who are
Right.
very highly qualified before
Exactly.
the Stefanski.
Eric Bieniemy was the number one rated candidate and got overlooked completely 5 years straight. That speaks something.
I mean,
When you're hiring Adam Gase, for Christ's sake.
yeah, that right there, mic drop. The fact that Adam Gase has
I'll agree with that
Gase
one.
gets hired too. Yeah, because I mean, I don't even know how he still has a job today, except for he's doing a great job of going without a win. So he's doing a great tank for Trevor. He's doing a great job with that. Hey, Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to see if
I'll
I can.
take a drink.
I'm going to bring someone in here and see if I can add him in here. I just realized someone popped into our lobby here, and I want to make sure we can take the phone call and talk to this guy at the same time. Welcome, dude. It's the dude. How you doing tonight, dude?
What's up, dude?
Hey guys, real quick, Ted Larson is active, and as far as learning the system, he played 2 years under Bruce Arians in Arizona.
Arizona, yes.
As far as the Eric Bieniemy, so just so we're clear here, 32 multi-billion dollar corporations will purposely not hire the best person to lead that organization because of the skin color, or is it because they don't think he fits with their philosophy? And I'll point out, before Adam Gase got the job as head coach, his first head coach job, he too was the number one candidate for several years. And that's the point. We can't go down the path of affirmative action. It didn't work in society. It won't work in the NFL. That said, I think Eric Bieniemy gets a shot this year by the team known as the Atlanta Falcons, because who runs that team, guys?
Rich McKay.
And what's Rich McKay notorious for?
Rich McKay's notorious for doing those type of moves and giving those type of chances to coaches like that, like an a la Tony Dungy or such.
Right. So if you start incentivizing teams to draft a person based on their pigmentation as opposed to what you, the owner of that team or the general manager, feels fits your team, you're like, you got a candidate here where it's literally neck and neck. Oh, well, we could go with this guy because I like his philosophy, but this guy is the hot candidate. And I'm going to go with this guy because I also get a 3rd round compensatory pick. Now we're going to see the entire league, Bill Belichicking everything and just hiring people so they can get an extra pick. That makes no sense. The other side of that is every coaching staff or every coach, when they're working their way up through the ranks from coordinator or position coach to coordinator, vice versa, however it works for them, there's always hot candidates that sit there and sit there and sit there. How long did – I mean, let's be honest. How many times did Sean McVay interview? I believe he interviewed for 3 positions. How many times did the gentleman who's currently running, I believe it's the Chicago Bears, I believe he interviewed several times. How many times has Bill Parcells, for crying out loud, interviewed and not got the job, or in his case, backed out because he's a douchebag?
How many?
If you go a hard line with this, the Rooney Rule and its belief was going down the right path, but what you saw was that the owners, who are all billionaires, aren't going to be told who they can and can't hire. We know this to be true by certain players who have been blackballed for whatever reason. And yes, the race thing always gets brought up, and I get it. I mean, it's there. But we're talking about a league. If you go from the very top, from the commissioner, all the way down to the water boy at the practice facility, is predominantly not white. Okay? Yes, the gentlemen who own at the top are white guys, but let's be honest. These football teams have been owned by these guys for decades, and in some cases, generations. So they get passed down, they get moved forward, all that. That said, the best coaching candidate out there right now is probably a guy who we don't even know his name is. And that's the thing. He's the best candidate. He's the guy who should get the job. If you think back real hard, guys, when that guy has been propped up over the years as the coach, the next messiah, the next surefire coaching guru, they never work out. So maybe, right, just maybe, these teams with their billion-dollar budgets and these teams literally have more people breaking down film and digging into backgrounds and digging into everything than the FBI has in some cases. Okay. They hire their investigators straight from the FBI to make sure everything is kosher on the outside world. And then they have scouting departments and football operation managers who go, does this guy fit with what we want to do as an organization? Maybe the organizations that have had needed coaches and wanted Eric Bieniemy didn't want to run that style offense they run in Kansas City. Maybe they wanted to run ground and pound. Maybe they wanted to run no risk it, no biscuit.
Yep.
Where I'm going with is, right now, as a society, do things need to change? Sure. But when you mandate it, that's not change. That's a rule. Yep. And that means there's no good faith. Let it happen. Eric Bieniemy will get his job. And newsflash, everybody, Eric Bieniemy isn't standing in a bread line somewhere, guys.
Hey,
he's literally a Super Bowl champion.
Johnny, do you have a response to that?
Yeah, I never once said anything about mandating it, did I? I said that Scott Pioli was probably going to take him wherever he goes.
Well, you literally said that there should be rules in places, or people said there should be rules in places.
No, I said that it should be different. I didn't say there should be rules. And if I was going to make a rule, it would be to get rid of the old boy network, because for one thing, it's harder than hell for any white, black, or yellow young coach coming up in the league to do anything, because they keep rehashing these fired coaches.
Well, I mean, isn't it fair to say it's hard for anybody to come up into the NFL and break in, regardless of pigmentation?
That is exactly what I just said.
I think the NFL teams are
You said everybody but Caucasians, Johnny.
I think NFL teams are.
I just now said it's hard for any young person, despite the color, red, white, yellow, or black, to come up in the ranks, because they keep rehashing the old fired coaches.
And I think that plane has left the terminal, though, JD. I mean, I think we've seen it in the nowadays. You're hiring the hottest coaches that were in colleges that were literally coaching the last year's Heisman Trophy winners, or you're looking to hire your Cliff Kingsbury, or you're bringing up your Stefanski, or you're hiring a Matt Rule, which Matt Rule might have been like of a reach for the Atlanta Panthers.
I was about to say,
was actually a reach.
I was about to say, isn't this the NFL season that has in the last 2 years like the most up and coming young coaches being hired?
Well, and that's what I mean. So I think that plane has left the terminal. I think my problem I have, and it's a question of money. It's not so much. It's just a question of the fact that you do not see a lot minorities. You do not see a lot of. Of course, Ozzie Newsome was like literally the groundbreaker out there with the Baltimore Orioles, or at first it was the Cleveland Browns as a general manager, as an African American general manager. But you don't see a lot of those jobs going to people in that type of stature, and that's not based on the type of offense they run. That's just based on the fact that the 32 white owners feel comfortable with somebody in the room.
Well, wait a minute. You're not going to hire a GM that runs run and shoot if you want to run ground and pound.
I agree.
I mean, we literally had a debate here for the last however many years Jason Light's been here that his drafting and his scouting doesn't match what the Buccaneers coaches that he hired wants to do. That's been the big discussion. So that's my point. We can't mandate, we can't reward, and we can't punish. Okay? Right. These owners own the team. And I'll say this, as far as all these older coaches that keep getting rehashed, how many of them have losing records right now?
No, they're actually pretty good.
Exactly. So you get rehashed. In other words, $1 billion industry isn't going to purposely not hire the best person for the position just because he doesn't look the same as the owner. The owners have proven this over and over again with they hire who's best for the team. Now, can we argue that some owners don't know what the hell they're doing? Absolutely. Can we argue that in the real world, some of these old white guys, as Johnny pointed out, might not have the greatest social view on people? Absolutely. But what they care about more than pigmentation, what they care about more than anything else is wins, losses, and money. So they're going to hire the best guy. I will point out the fact that the Buccaneers were rebuilt by a coach of African-American descent in Tony Dungy. The Buccaneers were put on the map by that guy. I don't care if he was black, white, red, brown, green, yellow, orange. I don't care if he starred in the movie Paul and he's an alien. They're going to hire.
How long has it been since Lovey and Tony Dungy came into the league? Because they were the first. They were groundbreakers. How long has it been since they were in the league?
What, Dungy?
Dungy or Lovey Smith. Lovey Smith and Tony Dungy were the first two groundbreakers, man.
I mean, Dungy got. Well, I remember Dungy. The thing was he was in the defensive coordinator position with the Minnesota Vikings, and he should have been a head coach for 2 or 3 years. But I think that I could say this for the dude and for you, JD, that 20 years ago was a different cat. You know.
I also remember in the first Super Bowl when the Bears played the Indianapolis Colts. That was the first time that two African American head coaches were facing off against each other.
There's not equally qualified people.
No one's ever disputing that, Johnny.
But they're getting a chance. Look at Caldwell. Look at the guy.
Gosh, look at the numbers.
Okay, but dude, Johnny, what was the coach at Detroit before Matt Patricia?
Man, I'm not sitting on my computer. I can't.
What about Leslie Frazier? How many opportunities has he had? The point being is they're going to hire who best fits their philosophy and what they want to do as an organization. If that guy happens to be pink, then so be it. He's set up for Breast Cancer Awareness Month in the NFL. He's golden. But when it comes to football and business, okay, Jerry Jones isn't signing Dak Prescott because he's black. Jerry Jones doesn't like Dak Prescott. That doesn't mean Jerry's right, but Jerry is the owner. Bill Parcells famously had a pretty pale coaching staff, but a very not pale team. And that's the mold that we need to break out of. And I think we have moved forward. And like I said, look, one of the most successful coaches in the NFL right now, it resides in Pittsburgh. In my opinion, one of the best coaches, and this is why I'm trying to say it doesn't matter about his color. One of the best coaches is coordinator Eric Bieniemy. But there's a reason why he goes to these interviews and doesn't get hired. Okay? No different than it could be something simple, like Harry pointed out in one of his interviews this week. It could be something that he just doesn't jive with the organization. But if you start going down the slope of mandating or rewarding or however you want to phrase it. It's a slippery slope that's going to get ugly, guys. And my thing is, you want to give everybody an opportunity to succeed. You want to give everybody an opportunity to blossom. But for every person that you reward because they hired this guy instead of that guy, at what point do we start looking at it as it might be a little rigged, for lack of a better expression? In other words, like I said again, you got two even candidates. Well, I'm going to take this guy because I get a 3rd round pick, or I got to get this guy because I get good press for 2 weeks. When it boils down to it, at the end of the day, it's wins, losses, and profit margin. And no one in the NFL who owns a team, regardless of what they look like, is going to say, you know what, we've got everything in place. We just need the right coach. But instead of that, I'm going to hire this guy because he doesn't look like the other guy. I'll put it to you this way. If we're talking about hiring on looks, how the freak does Andy Reid have a job looking like a walrus? If we're going to hire on looks, how does Pete Carroll have a job looking like Space Ghost coast to coast out of costume? So it is what it is. That said, I do think this is the year Eric Bieniemy gets a chance. Now, remember, Eric Bieniemy turned down a couple job offers. Did we forget about that part? We did, didn't we? So that's kind of where I'm at. He turned down job offers. It's easy. Go
Which
look it up.
one?
We've been frozen.
He turned down
I just need to know which.
well, right off the top of my head, Detroit. Go look it up. It's there. There were several times he refused to even do the interview. That said, I feel like with all the problems the NFL has had on the outside, on the fringe, I think they've done an excellent job navigating through this season. I think they could have done things a lot better on some things, but that's how you learn. That said, it is what it is. We have 3 games left for the Buccaneers. I believe right now Harry and Ray are frozen like popsicles. So, it's all good. I just want to say, everybody watching, we appreciate you watching. 320 Solar, great shout out to you guys.
We're back. Can you hear me, Keith?
Yes. 320 Solar. We appreciate 320 Solar. We appreciate the Deck Bar and Grill. We appreciate all the people out there supporting. Please hit that like button.
Yes.
Hit that share button. Jump on the phone lines. The number is scrolling across the screen so beautifully. Harry, Johnny, Ray, as always, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Stay tuned later tonight, 9 p.m. What's Cooking in the South with Rick Hughes.
What's cooking in the South?
We are going to talk about food. We're going to talk about football. We're going to talk smack about the Falcons. And, of course, we're going to throw a little shade towards those New Orleans Saints. Why? Well, when you can't beat them, you got to shade them.
That was good,
Johnny. Hey, yeah, we sorry, Harry and I went for a dip in the pool there, so you guys were going at it, and we had froze up. So I apologize. So Johnny, what else do you like about tomorrow's game? Let's just slide off of that subject.
I still say he goes wherever Scott Pioli goes.
Who?
We're still going there. No, just kidding with you, baby.
No, that was the original question.
No, you're right.
Remember?
And you're thinking that might be Atlanta Falcons. That would be crazy.
And I almost started
either
it again.
Atlanta
I said,
or
who's Scott?
Detroit, because there's rumors that Scott Pioli's going either one of those two places.
Any other coaches you see on the hot seat this year? Let's think about this, guys. Who else? I mean, coaches, obviously.
Who ain't on the hot seat this year, man?
I know they said
There's
Mike
like 6
McCarthy's
coaches.
not on the hot seat, but what a dumpster fire they've had in Dallas this year. I mean, Mike McCarthy.
He stuck with Jason Garrett for how many years?
Yeah,
What
but
makes
I mean-
anybody think that Mr. Jones is going to get rid of McCarthy?
because because Jason Garrett played for him and was a quarterback for the Cowboys, so he had love with him going back 20 something years. But Mike McCarthy brags about how him and his brain trust went into a building out in a farm in Wisconsin and did nothing but broke down
Harry.
NFL film for a year.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray.
No, it's a go ahead, Johnny.
Harry.
Yes, sir.
Didn't Jerry Jones fire a coach that just won 2 Super Bowls and could have won 3 more?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so You can't peg Jerry Jones and say, "Oh, he's just going to keep somebody." He ain't. He'll do whatever Jerry Jones wants to do.
And let's be honest, Dak Prescott's injury is a big thing, so they can say, "Oh, well, that's the reason why." But then I look at everything else Dallas is. If you show me five, you give me names of 5 players on a Dallas Cowboys team that are playing with heart and passion for Coach Mike McCarthy, and I'll be surprised that you got to 5. I mean, even Zeke.
I haven't seen any players on the Dallas Cowboys team since maybe Tony Romo, and that's a maybe.
Yeah, and Jason Witten
would play to their abilities when they got to the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah,
because once they get to the Dallas Cowboys under Jerry Jones, they take holidays. They got their money. They got Jerry Jones. They're living in Jerry world, and they don't care about football no more.
What's the one exception to that,
Either
Johnny?
that.
What's the one exception?
Either that, or they're so overvalued that it's pathetic. Because every year we come out and we hear how great the Dallas Cowboys team is, and every year we see how crappy the Dallas Cowboys.
Now, who's the
team
one?
really is.
Who's the one Buccaneer exception that balled out with Dallas, but then came to Tampa Bay and took a vacation?
That was Ron Harper, I believe.
Nope.
Alvin
Harper.
Ron Harper.
No, you were there.
Ron Harper was basketball. I'm sorry.
I'm always going to tie it back to the Bucks, guys. Let's talk about the Bucks here now. Tomorrow, the Bucks going against the Falcons.
Hang on, you got to give me some props there. How about that? How long ago did Alvin Harper play?
1982.
I can't give you props. You didn't get his name right.
Oh, Ron, you didn't.
Well, come on. I could have just said Harper. Can you give me like some credit, Johnny? I know that.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. Ain't no one got no time for
that. Any good
that.
comments out there, Ray?
You know what? Let's see, Johnny. Stick around. Let's read some comments here. Maybe see.
I love me some Professor.
Let's see here. Nelson Hernandez says nothing. Benny Sokolowski
My
says
fellow Greek.
James Wilder Aguli. I'm not sure exactly what that means. Tim Witherspoon says you two should compromise. Cheddar biscuits.
Okay, I can agree with that.
Benny also says James Wilder, the greatest running back in Bucks history. He should be in the Ring of Honor. Okay. What do you think about that, Johnny? I mean, I think we've all agreed that James Wilder.
I agree with that.
I could make that argument. Is he the greatest Buccaneer running back of all time? Johnny, you still there?
I'm finding it hard to find anybody better. I mean, actually, I believe Ricky Bell would have been, but then
that name, Ricky Bell. What a running back he was.
Yeah, straight up and down, and the ass kicking he took week in and week out, running that 3 yards in a cloud of dust for John McKay. Of course, he brings him here because Ricky Bell played for him at USC, and drafts him instead of Tony Dorsett. Of course, some would argue Tony Dorsett would have probably gotten just nothing. I mean, now
he would
Tony
have pulled
Dorsett's
a Steve Young.
Yeah, I mean, but Ricky Bell, biggest heart in the history of Tampa Bay. I'm trying to think of Eric Rett. Loved Eric Rett. Of course, you had Mike Allstott.
Eric Rett played for Florida, didn't he?
That's exactly
that's right. And I think he followed. Did he follow
Emmitt Smith?
Emmitt Smith, or was he before Emmitt Smith?
No, he was after.
And Neil Anderson was just before the two of them.
Wow, you got look at this guy, Johnny. He knows a little something about the Gators.
He brought Neil out.
What's that?
He brought Neil out.
Yeah, Harry brought his big boy britches to the party tonight.
Bad for Neil Anderson having to follow up Walter.
Let me tell you something. It's ironic that you mentioned that, and I'd like to go down memory lane really quick when Ray's going to go through the comments. I remember when Neil Anderson was drafted by the Chicago Bears, Ray.
Yes.
They kept him on the bench for 9 straight games before they gave him his first run. And he exploded up the middle.
I remember.
For a 60-yard touchdown.
Yep.
And after the game, Walter says he's going to be a great running back for this organization. He says he's been a student of the game. He sat on the bench, and it was like a Coke bottle that was never open, and they shook it.
Yep.
And then they opened it up. He was like an exploding bottle of Coke.
Hey, Johnny.
38-13 now, by the way. Fourth quarter, 7 minutes left.
38-13. Okay. No, I was going to ask you we were talking about running backs. Didn't the Bears draft Rashaan Salaam?
Yes, they did back in the mid-90s.
And do you not agree that Rashaan Salaam won the Heisman Trophy, but it should have went that year to number 76 out of Miami, defensive lineman Warren Sapp?
I totally agree with that. I never liked Rashaan Salaam as a running back. I thought he ran too high going through the middle. And that was his big knock. The backup running back who ended up playing for the New England Patriots, I think his name was Raymond Harris.
I think that's
and he ended up having a much better career than Rashaan Salaam.
Very nice. Johnny, I'm going to read a couple more comments here. Joshua Cole Allen says, Benny, James Wilder owes you a drink for all the campaigning you do for him. Tim Weatherspoon says, Lenny F might break 100 this week. Not sure who that is. Bo Turner says, Harry the Greek. Bo Turner says, what's
Leonard
the call-in
Fournette's what
number?
he's talking about.
If Bo's actually asking what's the call-in number and he's not looking at that bottom screen, tell him it's on the bottom, Bo.
What's up, Bo?
How you doing, Bo? Scrolling across the bottom screen, sir, says Bucks Report. Tim Weatherspoon says, I saw Monday night's show, and that guy can get some splinters and eat a big deck. Yeah, I think we know who he's talking about.
Next comment.
Anyway, we'll move on. Mike DeRocher says, hey, boys. Hey, Mike.
What's up, my Canadian brother?
Christopher Cole says Ray has his playoff beard. That's what it is. And Johnny, you were alluding to my baseball look, and I got that tight little, got the fire going in the background. It's our fireside Saturday night chat. But yeah, I got my playoff beard going. This doesn't come off until the Bucks play in 55.
I can agree with that.
Okay. I know, Johnny. I just
What happens if they don't?
then I shave my butt and walk backwards.
Well, you said
Don't
it don't come off until they play there. So when does it come off if they don't?
Let's jump off that bridge when we get to
I'm
it.
going to let my kitty cats play with Ray's beard.
Johnny says, okay, what's up with that beard, Ray? I got you. We just talked about Atlanta. Mike says Atlanta may win the coin toss. That's it. Go Bucks. Let me ask you
I
something.
love the confidence of this, Mike.
Johnny, aren't there just some games, and there's been some games with the Bucks this year, that I get the whole they're playing, everything's about analytics and percentages, but there's times that teams win the toss, and I wish they would just take the ball and drive it down the field. Do you ever feel that way, or do you agree that every time you win a toss from now on out, it should always be deferred to the second half?
I like deferring because then you get the second half, and that's really where you win the games in the second half.
Sean Payton doesn't defer. I mean, a Bill Belichick, Bill's
if you
deferred.
defer, you're giving yourself the chance to score before the half and then score right after the half. That's two scores you go up on the team. That's
the number. I mean, you're
a
right.
logical choice.
The logic's there, but of course, from my standpoint, you get the ball first, and it's like getting the ball first in overtime. You get the ball first, and you drive right down the field, and you put it in the end zone, and you're basically pissing on the bush and letting them know you've marked your territory from the get-go.
That's another thing too. You want to get your defense warmed up. That's another good reason to defer.
That's true. Okay, I'll pass on. I agree. I agree with that. Tim Witherspoon also says, Harry, what's the money line?
I believe Tim is referring to the Atlanta game. It's pretty far up there. It's probably Tampa's minus 270.
Oh, Tim also says, and where did it start?
Believe it or not, it was minus 230.
So minus 270, minus 2, which means now you have to bet 100. You have to bet 270 to win 100 on the Bucks.
Correct. But if you put them in a parlay, your return's going to be a little bit less, but you're not having to, to lay all those points. I'm really glad you brought that up, Tim. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good point because we haven't talked about that. Let's see here. Mike also says Bucks win 28-3. Who sound familiar? Brady in Atlanta just saying. Who sound familiar? Brady in Atlanta just saying. Johnny, what's your prediction for tomorrow? I know we're going to get, unless you want to save it for tomorrow, because I have another call I have to take before I let you go, brother. What's your prediction for tomorrow?
I want to see a 40-point game for the Bucks.
All right.
Our defense will, as usual, hold them under 24.
All right. So you're betting the over 64 points at least on the over. You think it Bucks 40-24.
Yep.
All right, brother. Hey, make sure we talk to you tomorrow morning, and please call in for Cup of Ray in the morning. I'd love to talk with you a little more, get a little deeper on the Bucks.
What time is that in the morning?
Whatever time I get up. No, I like to go at
this game just went to 41-13.
41-13.
That's good. That's 20 points. It's 20 points scored in the second half. I took a very risky wager there. I need over 23.5. So I need another touchdown. Maybe the Broncos will give up a garbage one.
We under 5 minutes in the fourth quarter now?
Yep.
Are we?
There's 5 minutes and 46 seconds left.
I was just figuring. All right, brother. All right, Hey, JD,
later,
stick
guys.
around. Oh, all right. Right later, John. I'll talk to you in the morning, brother. 9 o'clock, 9 a.m., brother.
Much love, Johnny.
All right, bud.
Hey, brother.
Later, bud.
I'm going to call this cat back because I definitely wanted to talk with this cat. Let me see if you're able to answer his phone here. And it never works. Basically, I'm just letting them know that this is the preheat show to the What's Cooking in the South with Rick Hughes tonight at 9:00 here on Bucks Report. Okay, yeah, it didn't fly. So Tim also says a grinder is a sandwich. Yeah, a grinder is a sandwich. Yeah, definitely. Now a grinder is a sandwich if you live in Chicago. What's it called if you live in New York? Oh,
A hoagie.
a hoagie.
A hoagie.
Good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
This is George from Sheboygan.
From Sheboygan. Hey, George, what'd you have for dinner tonight?
What'd you have for dinner tonight?
You knew that was coming. Did you hear what I just said? I said this is the preheat show to the What's Cooking in the South. What's Cooking in the South with Mr. Rick Hughes tonight. How are you tonight, Rick Hughes?
Doing great. Hey, I wanted to call, and you guys were talking about running backs.
Yes.
There's different ways you judge a running back, and you can say who's the best if you're just talking yards. That's one thing, but I honestly think best running back for the Bucks, and I don't even know if you call him pure running back, but Allstott.
Yeah.
Simply because he did so much for the team. I mean, it wasn't just numbers. There were so many things that guy did that just made him invaluable. And he was so important to the fan base. There's so many ways that you have to, you just got to look at the guy as being just critical to the organization. I mean, fan favorite.
I completely agree.
He was like a human battering ram.
Well,
and when he did get the rock, boy,
hey guys,
he moved.
Actually, I need to step away. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, brother, thank you for calling.
I'll call you back.
Thank you. What a point he makes. And let me tell you why. Because we talk about Ricky Bell and the heart. And the heart that this kid, and of course, at 29 years of age, he's gone. He's left us already. And then you talk about James Wilder and the fact that he belongs in a Ring of Honor 110%. But you talk about what Mike Allstott brought to the table. He brought not only the heart, but he brought the brutality. He brought that beast-like running skills, and he also had the best, softest hands I'd ever seen for a fullback who's actually a running back, but built like a fullback, and he filled so many voids. You put him in front and you'd have work done running behind him, but he was a constant threat with the receptions out of the backfield. He gave, and the irony is at that point is that we kind of had a Tony Dungy offense that Tony Dungy was a strong defensive-minded coach, and the offense almost seemed like an afterthought. And I don't mean to put Coach Dungy down like that, but it's true. For so many years, we could not get out of our own way. But Allstott up the middle. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, it should be plastered on every building in Tampa Bay.
All I know is when they needed 1 yard,
boom,
the defense knew that Allstott was going to get the ball. I remember 8, 9, sometimes 10 in the box.
Yeah.
I mean, even as porous as that offensive line was at times, he still got the yard.
But I won't preface that, but I'll go ahead and say that 19.75% of his plays today, he would probably be flagged for instigating contact with the helmet.
Yeah,
but then so would John Lynch. I mean, it was a different time.
Another rule that has made football
don't go there.
Not as fun. But I don't want to go there, please.
I really get you.
Let's read some comments, brother.
I get you. Yeah, let's get some comments. Oh, start pulling up some games. I want to know some games tomorrow.
I'm going to give you some games.
Well, go ahead. Let's start it.
Do you have commercials?
I do have a commercial here that I'm going to run for the people on at 320 Solar, who are sponsors of our show, 320solar.com. Let me find out if I can get that up here. First, I have to find that comment because now I keep seeing grinder as a sandwich, and now I'm hungry. And of course, there it is. Tim's always bringing it.
Why don't you make me a sandwich?
I will bring you a sandwich, knuckle sandwich. That's my dad would say.
I'm not that hungry.
See my pinky, see my thumb, see my fist. You better run. Stand by. We're going to run a commercial here.
I haven't heard that in years.
Right back. Yeah, my dad used
You're
to
awesome,
Ray. And we're back, and now it's time to start talking some picks. I'm going to pull the comments back up here because I do want to read a couple more comments. But first, go ahead, Harry. Give me your first starter games. I want to do 5. How many? You got 4 special games, or you got 3 big picks?
I had 3 really good picks.
Okay,
this
so
week.
let's do 6 games. Give me your 3 next best, and then save the 3 best for last.
How do I give 6 picks if I have 3?
No, I'm saying save your best 3, but give me the next 3 you would have given me had they not been in your top 3.
Okay. Houston's at Indianapolis. This is probably my least favorite game.
Okay, hold on. Okay, go ahead. I'm just kidding with you, Alec. I needed to meditate.
Do we have to do Josh Rosen 3 times? Josh Rosen.
I think
Now look down.
Rick just got more wings.
It happened.
Don't even go there. Oh, we got a caller. Rick's call.
Thank God, Rick Hughes.
What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Tim from Poughkeepsie.
It's Tim from Poughkeepsie this time.
Did you hear Josh Rosen? Is that what you called?
You just got done doing the Josh Rosen chant.
We
Thank
did.
I
you.
should have
And
said
I
Josh
said-
from Arizona.
I
Josh
said
from
every time we say
Arizona.
Josh Rosen 3 times, Rick Hughes gets another set of wings.
That's what happens. You say it 3 times and I call. So ready to go on a rant.
So, Rick, go ahead and finish what you were saying while you have a second,
Okay.
because I 100%
funny.
agree.
It's funny because you can sit here for 90 minutes at work and do nothing. And the moment you get on the phone,
Yeah.
3 coworkers have to come up and say, "Hey, I got a question."
Well, that's what happens when you work a street corner.
Oh,
Those aren't the coworkers. Those are, anyway.
So,
Sorry,
anyway,
John, I'll be ready shortly.
your Mike
but,
Allstott take was so spot on, Rick.
oh my God!
Well, I
it
think
was.
it's
I never
true.
would
I
have
think
thought of
it's-
that.
No,
Well,
I
it's
didn't.
the truth is that I mean, he did so many things. I mean, he caught the ball well. He ran the ball well. He blocked well. He was a leader. There's so many layers to what that guy did that I mean, it's unquestioned and work done, by the
in
way.
the
If he had
community
been
and
there for-
everything.
yeah. And if he had been there for a long time, work done, I think very well could have been in that conversation.
You know, I'd like to chime in and say one thing about Mike Allstott.
Go ahead.
Okay, can I actually say that he actually comes into my shop?
Yeah.
Okay, let me tell you something. For the people that never had a chance to actually meet Mike Allstott, number one, he's a really great customer at where I
Yes.
work, and we work on a lot of their cars. He is probably one of the nicest people that I have met, especially being on a platform as a professional athlete.
Yes.
And you know what's even most important?
What?
He's a great father and a superb husband. From
Yeah.
what I know of this man, I mean, he's just an all-around great guy.
He's
Just
old school.
all-around great guy.
He's old school.
Yeah. And I
Right.
want to throw out one more name just for the sake of mentioning his name.
Do it.
Definitely not best running back the franchise has had, but it's worth mentioning the name Jerry Eckwood.
Jerry Eckwood. Yeah. Because, I mean, oh, God. The time and a place, the yards were tough then.
Yep.
I mean, he had a number. He literally had a number painted on his back, number 43. But I mean, yeah, I mean that cat. And of course he was replacing Jimmy. He was replacing
James
James Wilder.
Or Ricky Bell.
Ricky Bell.
one
No,
of
he
it,
was after
yeah,
Ricky Bell. And, of course, Ricky Bell, he had the off year. He started slowing down.
Yep.
He gets traded to San Diego, and Jerry Eckwood steps in here, and he was almost an afterthought. But those of us that were there watching him play, we realized this kid's a big cat, and he could play.
Yeah. Yeah, he was fun to watch. And I mean, it was he eased that transition. He made it not quite as brutal as it could have been. So
Let me ask you something, Rick, since we're just
Yep.
talking about it. I mean, we're just riffing on a Saturday night here. Mike Allstott, work done in the backfield. Mike Allstott, a fullback that plays tailback but has hands like a receiver, and work done and the speed, and both outstanding
Yeah.
citizens. What if they'd have had, instead of having a defensive-minded coach like Tony Dungy, what if they'd have played into an offense that put premium on the running back position?
well, yeah, I mean,
Why are you laughing? Because you feel the same way. You're like wondering. It's just a question,
well,
right?
It's a funny question to ask. I mean, they made the offense when they were here.
Yes.
I mean, there really wasn't a lot else going on. I mean, what I think is an interesting question to ask, that I think that if you said who's the best linebacker in Bucs history,
Oh,
because there's been a bunch. So who's the best linebacker in Bucs history?
Mm.
That's I mean, the modern people, of course, are all going to go Vontae, but
yeah. Well, double nickel. I mean-
yeah. I mean, do you want to say Brooks? Is it Levante? Is it? I mean, it's easy to say Brooks because they had success during that time period. But
Yeah.
there have been a lot
Yeah.
great running backs. My mind, I'm just having a complete brain fart. Hardy Knickers.
Brother,
I mean-
I'm Richard Batman Wood. And I mean,
yeah,
I don't
Batman Woods was phenomenal.
Hardy
I wish they'd
Nickerson,
let him
what a
do
Hardy
great,
stuff like that.
what a great linebacker.
well, no, but I mean, for a young defense, a young second year,
Yeah.
third year Buccaneers defense that didn't have the superstar. And I'm not taking away from double nickel, Derek
No.
Brooks, but Derek Brooks, he had Warren Sapp, and he had, I mean, oh God, that's that Outback
There were
Steakhouse.
so many, man. Hugh Green.
Hugh
I
Green,
mean, there were
Wow, what
Yeah.
a name.
Broderick Thomas, and Keith
Scott
McCants.
Brantley.
Brantley, but Keith McCants, of course, he
Yes.
he
Yeah.
gets drafted out of Alabama by Ray Perkins, who himself came from Alabama as a coach. Ray Perkins brings Keith McCants in here. They make him put on weight because they want to play him at defensive end, and of
Yeah.
course, that ended up being, I think, his downfall because he ends up getting the leg injury, the knee injury, and
Yeah.
he never recovered from it. I'd
Yep.
like to have seen Keith McCants be allowed to stay at linebacker.
Yeah, it's been interesting to watch some of these, the way things have developed. And we know we're not going to say Mark Barron. I'm kidding. That's sorry.
Who do you
No.
like in tomorrow's
Barrett
game,
Rude.
Rick?
Barrett Rude.
If you want to know who I like in tomorrow's game, you got to tune into my show.
You know what?
Boo.
I got to tell you, I'm just going to tell you ahead of time. We had a late lunch. Peter, myself, and Harry. We had a late lunch today. But I'm going to sneak a snack in after the show here so I can get on with what's cooking in the South tonight. So
that
I
would
can
be
have
awesome.
something. I want to get something. I'll have to go home and see what I got. I think I'm going to have some. I'm going to share it. If you want to, if you all out there want to hear what I had as a little snack between shows, you'll have to tune into what's cooking in the South with Rick Hughes tonight
right.
at 9:00 on Bucks Report.
I'll tell you
That's right.
what
The
Harry just
intersection
had.
of food and football.
Intersection of food and football.
Harry
That's
just
where we're hanging out. Yep.
Harry the Greek
Harry
just
just
had
broke wind.
another. Harry he didn't break. Harry the Greek just had another victory.
Oh, what did Harry get?
The
there?
game went over in the second half. Yes.
Buffalo.
He's talking. Harry's talking about himself in the third person now.
I love it.
He
But you
does
know
this
what?
now.
Hold on. Time out. Hold
Ray,
on. Hold
it's,
on.
It's Harry the Greek at your door.
Rick Hughes is listening to Harry the Greek talk about Harry the Greek.
And Ray Kennedy finds it all offensive.
Oh, Rick. Oh, Rick. Oh, Rick. I shall see you in about an hour, buddy.
All right, you guys. You have a great night.
Take care, Rick. You
Thanks
too, bro.
For,
Talk
thanks
to you in a
for
little
calling,
while.
Rick.
Yep, you got it.
I like
That
being
was
in
the
the
best
third.
part of this
I
show.
like being in the third person sometimes.
That was the best segment of this show. Rick Hughes comes on here, and that's the best. Let's get. Hey, don't. These are personal comments.
What comments aren't personal? I keep.
Telemarketer. You wanted me to answer that telemarketer
Yes, I
call.
did because I really wanted to do one. Like I'm some Greek guy from Greece.
But you're not going to use my number. Then they'll know it's an active
No, I go
line.
hello for you.
Yeah, then my luck. It's some big fat Greek lady who wants a big fat Greek wedding, and she keeps calling me back for the next 6 months.
It's not nice to say fat Greek.
Wait, did I say that?
Yeah,
Because it's the name of a movie.
I'm offensed. I'm
You're offense.
I'm offense.
Do you know why they have fences around cemeteries?
I have no idea.
Because everyone's just dying to get in.
That's what I always used to say. But can you give me a little bit in here? Harry the Greek, meaning myself. Okay, not in the third person.
Get some
Just
picks up. Get some picks up while I find another comment. Mike DeRocher says, why are we as Bucks fans so fascinated with either Evans gets 1,000 yards receiving? Who cares? That big silver trophy with the football on it is way more important than any player's personal stats. And Mike, let's go ahead. Let's do it.
Please, can I do it?
No.
It's
Let
a
me do it.
telemarketer.
No. Good evening, caller. What's your name and where are you calling from?
What's up, fellas?
Is this Pat?
Yes, sir.
Oh my Lord!
He's got one of those.
It says telemarketer. Are you kidding me? Pat, I want you to tell everybody out there what happens when I get a spam call from a telemarketer.
Is that why you did that, Pat?
QYK, are you on the air?
I do. I
love
swear to
this
God.
guy.
How you doing, Pat?
It's Harry the Cup and Ray the Greek. What's up, gentlemen?
It's a cup of Greek.
Harry the Cup and Ray,
Ray
the Greek. You know, I like that.
It's got a ring to it.
What's up, gentlemen?
Pat, what are you thinking about this game tomorrow with the Bucks at Falcons?
Yeah, I'm dying to know this.
I'm thinking it's going to be a rebound game for Tampa. It's time to get the boys back on track and win it.
Rebound from what? Winning?
No. Rebound from like we had against Green Bay.
Yeah.
I want to see no penalties. I want to run the ball 30 times.
Say it again, please.
Keep Matt. Even though Julio's not playing, that Atlanta offense is still pretty good on the turf.
Well, you know where Julio's going to be, don't you?
Julio's down here with us.
No, he's going to be down with me down by the schoolyard. You
Well,
fell
no.
down that hole.
Yeah, he stepped in and I
Listen,
didn't.
Julio's going to be crying tonight after Florida whoops Alabama's ass.
God, I hope that happens. Let's root for that. I'm so tired of Alabama. Every year, even Steve Spurrier had a great interview on SI.com this week, Pat. If you hadn't had a chance, you should check it out. Have you had a chance to read it?
I have not, no.
So it's just a great interview with head ball coach. He's literally, he works now as a liaison he's got an office still at the facility there at Florida. He's not coaching anymore. We saw him get a last little run there with the Orlando Apollos in the AAF, but even he makes, he makes the great point that, and he wasn't crying because, he went to South Carolina and when he was with the Gators, he was a product of good recruitment, but he makes the good comment that Alabama and the type of recruiting they do, the rich are just getting richer, and it's an imbalance in football. And I liked what the team's done. I like what Dan Mullins has done with this Florida Gators team and Trask at quarterback. I know they can score some points. I just got to see if that defense can get pumped up and find a way to slow Alabama down just a little.
Be honest with you, Ray, I don't think the defense is that good. We lost a lot of guys to the NFL last year.
Yes.
And I believe, instead of the old saying, throw in the towel, I believe one of our cornerbacks threw in the shoe last week and cost us the championship.
God, can you believe that?
If we were to win this game.
I didn't even get to think. I didn't get to ask you that. I saw Pat today over at the shop there, and Pat, thank you so much for my gift. I don't even know if I could share it with everyone.
You can't share that. This is TVPG, guys.
Ray, you are Tires Plus family, so you're anything for you, brother.
Other Pat,
what did you say, Pat? I'm sorry.
I said he's Tires Plus family.
Tires
sir.
Plus family, and you know what a great family it is. And that piece of that gift you gave me, I'm going to save it because when I do my first show from my new office, I'm putting together across the street there. That's front and center, and when I get it hung right there, by now, if y'all are wondering what it is, you're going to have to wait because you're going to love it, Pat. Thank you so much again. But I totally agree with you. I didn't get a chance to talk with you today about that, but man, when he threw that shoe last week. I mean, we've all revisited it all week, but on what planet did any player ever think that wasn't going to get a personal foul?
I've never seen that through my years of watching high school, college.
I've heard
pro.
a kitchen sink before.
He threw it in, but
I mean, I've heard a pitch and run, but not throw a shoe and run.
That
it could become a new defensive play.
Did you see the offense, the play out of Texas, the high school kid that went out and tackled the official that was throwing him out of the game?
That was horrible.
But
they arrested him.
Yeah, but the shoe throwing incident, that was more weird to me because I can see some kid getting so hyped up. Maybe he's on PDEs, maybe he's just so jacked.
One of the three
went
letters.
out and did it right.
He was on one of those three letters.
I'm just saying he goes out and does that. But to me, the taking of a shoe while the game is still, even after the game, but while the game is still active and throwing it down the field, maybe the stupidest thing I've seen on the football field in a decade. Seriously.
I love how, and I know a lot of Florida State fans that are personal friends of mine. And I had a certain young lady talking a lot of schmack today that Florida's going to get beat. And I basically responded with 3-9, enough said.
So.
You know what? And that's true. And it's not a really deep pick for someone to say Alabama's supposed to beat Florida. I mean, let's face it. I'm a Florida fan. You're a Florida fan. They're supposed to win. They're supposed to win. I mean, Vegas, they're not dummies.
But
that line is -16.
So, and let's talk line, Pat. So -16. We all agree here. We wish the Gators could win this game.
I got one better for you.
It'd be the game of the year. But hold on. Can they cover the 16 points?
We need some turnovers. We need the Bama quarterback to throw a couple picks. We need good field position. We need to stay clean. We need no penalties, no stupid penalties. And we need trash, and we pitch back tonight.
Yes.
Which is going to help. So we need to play. Our offense needs to be perfect, and our defense needs to play mediocre.
Do you think,
or not mediocre, but they need to not. You ever have one of those quarterbacks where you just need them just to play the game?
Yeah.
You don't need them to win the game. You just need them to play the game.
Do you think if the Gators took LSU more seriously last week, that Pitts would have played last week? I thought he was okay, but possibly could have came back last week, a week early. Definitely glad to have him tonight. Do you think he could have played last week?
Oh, absolutely. He could have played last week, but they were playing, it's that old saying, you need to look what's in front of you, not what's ahead of you. And the problem with the Gators last week is they were looking at Alabama, and LSU came up and bit them in the ass.
What happens, Pat, if for some reason the planets all line up and the stars are right behind it and the Florida Gators actually beat Alabama?
Oh,
do they move up?
Florida's in the top 4.
Think?
No matter what.
Yeah, they would have to.
Florida's in
I
the
think
top
they're
4.
number 6 then. They would have to. Does that push?
Florida's in the top 4.
Well,
does that
Ohio
push
State.
Alabama out?
Wait, when does Notre Dame
Oh,
Clemson play?
absolutely.
When does Notre Dame Clemson play?
Clemson.
I think they're playing right now, or they
They're
played
playing
today.
right now?
No,
Jeez.
Clemson crushed them.
Clemson crushed Notre Dame today?
Did they?
Yes.
I remember
then
it was
the
3-0.
Gators-
Here,
Oh,
I
then
got a
definitely
question
the
for you.
Gators
What
get
do
in
you think the total is, combined points, the over and under of the Florida-Alabama game?
Mm.
What's the total on it, Harry?
That's what I'm asking you. What do you think the total would be?
I think
What's the over and
I think
under in
Bama-
this game?
I think Florida puts up 24, 27 points.
That ain't going to be enough to win then.
I'm
Well,
thinking
no, you asked
63.
the total.
No. What's
Will
the
it go over the total?
no? What's the over and under
For
combined points
team
for both
scores.
teams?
I'm saying 63 is what it is. What's the Vegas line?
I wish it was 63. It's 75 points.
I'll go. If
Jesus.
it's 63, I'll go under.
No, he's saying it's
I
75.
think it's like a 30. I think it's like a 35, 24, 38, 27 game.
That
Would you
gives the
believe me
Gators
if
the
I
best
told
chance.
you? Would you believe me if I told you that the total in this game is supposed to be 75?
Jeez.
Holy crap!
And then they're thinking that
I'll
Bama
take the
scores
under.
40.
I think I'm. You know what, Pat? You like the under?
I like the under.
You know what?
If it's 73,
This is for
I'll
you.
take
Pa-
the under.
It's 74.5. This is for you, Patches. I'm playing the under.
Okay. I like the under.
$1,000.
Now I got a quick question for you.
It's 500.
Going back
Wow.
to Mr. the Professor Johnny Dean,
Yes.
Oh boy.
how he was talking about Eric Bieniemy.
Yes.
There are 2 head coaches in the NFL that were hired within the last 3 years.
Right.
Mr. Brian Flores, who's 8-5 in Miami,
Doing
And
a great
Lynn.
job.
and Anthony Lynn.
Yeah, doing a great job with the Chargers, losing some
So,
close games, but yes.
I don't want to hear anything about Eric Bieniemy not getting his opportunity, because like the dude said,
Yes.
he's turned down a few jobs.
And that's what I figured. I think that he went and looked and interviewed because he was, whether he was doing it because he was wanting to get the practice interviewing. I doesn't want the job. I didn't think it was completely just because he turned him down on the job. I think that he kind of likes still being under Andy Reid out there in Kansas City, and he picked up a ring last season. He might get another ring this season. Who knows? That's a pretty good job.
Well, remember when Josh McDaniels accepted the Colts job, and all of a sudden, oh, I don't want it. I got
Yes.
a chance to take over for Bill Belichick with Brady.
Did you know I remember that?
Oh yeah.
I mean,
do you?
you know what's really, really, really surprising about that? I don't wish anybody any luck that does that. I just don't. It's so hard, okay, to be a head coach in the National Football League
Right.
that it should be a privilege no matter who calls upon you. Race, gender, creed, it doesn't make a difference to me. If you have an opportunity to do that and you have the sack to be able to say, I'm sorry, I don't want your job because I'm going to wait to go take over for that is unbelievable. I remember that.
Yes.
The problem is with these offensive coordinators coming in, and a lot of these owners, and they're not looking at black, white, yellow, orange, pink, blue. They're not looking at color. They're looking at, like
You forgot
Keith
fuchsia
said
and
earlier,
violet.
they're looking at what they can do, whether it's a run and gun, ground and pound, and stuff like that. Okay, when Harry's boy Lovey was here,
Yes.
that's the last time we made the playoffs. We had great years under Lovey.
Say it again, Pat, because very few
We
people
had
on Buck
great
Reports
years
like him.
under Lovey Smith.
Oh, I love Lovey. I thought it was a big mistake to let him go.
And a lot of your
Not
and
only
a lot of your former coaches have been under Dungy. Mike Tomlin,
Yeah.
Yep.
Mike Tomlin.
Leslie Frazier.
Mike Tomlin's making a case for the best, he's definitely one of the top 5 best coaches of all time.
Anthony Lynn
First
was actually
ballot
under
Hall of-
Tony Dungy,
Wait, when was Anthony
and
Lynn
the
under
Colts,
Dungy?
when he was with the Colts.
Oh,
So
how about
was
that
Brian
for
Flores.
how about that for some knowledge?
I'm calling him from now on. Pat's the encyclopedia. I'm
Pat,
just
how
calling
about
him the
this? Lovey
encyclopedia.
Smith. Okay, we're going to go on that rabbit hole really quick. How in the world can a team fire a head coach that had 3 offensive coordinators in 2.5 years? Fire Lovey Smith in the Chicago Bears organization after winning the division with 10 wins.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Lovey with the Bucks, but Lovey with the Bears.
And
too.
then he
I'm
loses
sorry,
his job in Tampa.
Well, you know, Harry. Hey, Ray. You know, Harry's got to throw his,
He's
little,
always
his
going to
little
bring it back
bears
to
in there.
Okay,
Chicago.
I'm really going to do it now. Leslie Frazier was an ex-Buck too, by the way. Ex-Bear.
The polar bears. Not the grizzly bear. The polar bears.
The Cubs.
Don't you say the Cubs on this. I'll walk away. You ever say the
I'm
Cubs.
sorry.
Double entendre.
I didn't know he was a North Side fan.
Oh, yes, he
Buddy,
is.
you know what comes in the north side? Steers and whatever.
Oh,
no,
easy,
north side.
easy.
No.
I am not a north side.
Steers. Hold on. Steers and that other thing is Justin's favorite team.
Oh, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Yeehaw!
I hope he's listening.
Jesus Christ.
Stop it. Anyway, Pat,
yes, sir.
you have any questions on any games up to the day?
Well,
Because
actually,
I got to
Pat-
get the picks.
Pat, you stay with
here
us.
we
'cause
go.
we're
Actually,
gonna-
yeah, I do.
We're going to do well, you give Harry your question first.
The Washington-Seattle game.
Huh. You know what? I'm glad you did that, Pat, because this game's actually in Washington. In
Ooh.
Seattle, is
It is
traveling.
in Washington.
They're traveling 4 hours, and that game right now, if I'm not mistaken, the Washington football team
Nice.
is
Football team.
getting 6.5 points in this game. But here is a really good stat for you. The over and under in this game, are you ready? Only 44, and that's for the high-flying offense. That is a testament
Wow.
and how good this Washington football team is defensively. But you want to know what I think of that game? It's not one of my top picks of the week. I'm going to have a small position in this game. I am playing Washington plus the 6.5.
Okay, so you're taking Washington, but you think it because you take the 6.5 points.
Absolutely. I'm taking the 6.5 points. I don't have the
That's a smart move.
I don't have the guts to take them on the money line because Seattle, even though I think Washington can beat this team outright, this game means too much for Seattle.
Well, can I be honest with you? Then my question is because we know that Washington's offense leaves a lot to be desired. It's the defense is carrying it. So if you like the Washington and take the points, then you by sheer choice you also play the under in this game.
I was alluding
now,
to
don't
that.
forget, gentlemen, there is no Alex Smith tomorrow.
That's what I mean. Yeah, I mean it's not even Alex
It's
Smith.
It's Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah, I still like it because they're going to run the football. You have Ron Rivera, by the way, ex-Bear, and they know how to run football up there because they realize when you play really good defense and you run the football, Pat, what happens?
You win.
And the only reason why I brought this game up was because you and I had a conversation a little bit this morning about my big fantasy league.
Yes, I
About
know.
Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I don't like.
Oh.
There's no
So, Ray,
Russell
so let me ask
Wilson's
you
got
this,
zero
Ray.
chance.
Go ahead, Pat.
Since Ray called Mike Glennon a few weeks ago,
Yes.
Russell Wilson on the road against Washington or old Three Rivers against Houston?
Oh,
How-
Jesus. I'm going to have to go Rivers.
Absolutely.
Nah.
I mean, what are you even thinking about that? Houston has probably arguably the worst defense in the National Football League.
I think that Pete Carroll
Listen,
doesn't want to get Russell
Ray
Wilson injured.
Ray is 2 for 2 on fantasy quarterbacks this year.
Brother. Man, Pat.
And you know what? Ray picks him pretty deep, doesn't he? Doesn't he, Pat?
Picks him deep.
And you know
He
what?
puts
He was
them
a
deep.
point off on Mike Glennon.
Pat, Jesus. I mean, I'm the Pat Searcy fan club, man. I'm number one fan, brother. And again, thank you so much for today. But I'm also going to go ahead and put it out there. I like Josh Rosen to start for the Bucs in 2 years.
No, I don't think so.
Pat.
You
All
know,
right, Pat, say it.
here's my scenario with Tampa. I think at the end of the year, I think Jason Light and the ownership are going to rethink BA because they're going to have to re-sign Gronk. They're going to have to re-sign if they want Antonio Brown back, which I don't think he'll be back.
Yeah.
I just think this offense has so much potential. I just think he's holding Brady back.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in December right now, and he's got probably. I know he had some pretty good defenses in New England,
Yes.
but this defense has came on at the end of last year. They're coming on now, going into the playoffs. I know we have to go on the road, but I don't think those two get along.
Wow, Pat.
I think there's a lot of button heads.
You know what makes me interested about that concept? I've never actually thought about that way. Is that wouldn't it be like the largest irony of ironies that in 2001 Dungy builds a defense? I'm not saying that that we've got a defense there like Dungy's defense, but couldn't get the offense to click right, and they go and get a John Gruden, but they like 2 number ones, 2 number twos, $10 million. They ship it out to Oakland to bring John Gruden. I wonder if that were the case, Pat. If fans are allowed in Raymond James Stadium next year and they want to make sure there's 68,745 people in every seat and butts glued to it, I wonder if they would try to throw like an insanely amount of money at Josh McDaniel to come down here for 1 year and give it a run with Tom Brady at quarterback.
Well, how about this?
crazy?
I'm going to throw one at you. Bill Belichick leaves New England. Bill Belichick comes to Tampa.
Wow, that's
Bill
deep.
Belichick hires Lovie Smith as the D coordinator.
All right, Pat.
Wow.
I want you to say it with me. Just take 2 deep breaths.
Josh Rosen.
Now look down and tell me if it worked.
No, let me tell you something, because you throw that Bill Belichick and Lovie Smith, and for some reason I'm like back in high school. It's a very smoky room. We're all sitting around, and I want to say, what if our world is just a grain of sand on a beach of the universe? Because it's crazy, right?
No, seriously. He that might actually get some traction.
I'm not saying it couldn't.
I mean, if you really think about it, I mean, let's just say that the Buccaneers don't go deep into the playoffs.
And guys,
hypothetically,
we're just
we're just throwing this
here.
out.
We're just listeners. We're just streaming here. Nothing's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
But let's just say they don't go, and the ownership truly has had enough of these antics, especially if it's a game that was very winnable. I couldn't see why they wouldn't go after Belichick.
And obviously, like you said, Pat, you throw in Lovie Smith because you know that there's no way Todd Bowles stays here if they do his boy Bruce Arians.
Let him go with them. Sorry.
And I'm just saying, in that hypothetical world, because there's no way they're going to say, hey, Todd, we really like your defense, but we're getting rid of the guy who basically you came here with. And so obviously it wouldn't work out, but we're getting way down the road because it's all going to be moot once we lift that trophy over here in 55 in just a couple of months, right, Pat?
I want to start that rumor.
Oh, it's coming. It's coming. Brady's a December and January quarterback. It's only going to get better.
And he's ready. And I love what he said this week. He was on a show and he said that he's from California. He's a native of California. He said, I lived in the Northeast for 20 years and he had the success there. And they asked him, he said, I'll never live in the Northeast again. Him and Giselle and the kids, they're happy right down here. And that's probably
They just bought a brand new house.
Yes.
So they're here.
And that really
big
nice boat too, buddy.
Yeah, big boat. So they're happy, and I'm happy to have them because I've said this. I want to win. I want to see the Buccaneers have great success, but just to be part of this Tom Brady narrative, it's been fun so far this year, and I think the best is just getting started.
Oh, it's been a tremendous year. A couple up and downs here, the Bear game, and Harry still holds that over my head, but that's okay.
That's okay.
They were 5-1, weren't they?
Yep.
Yes.
Could see in the playoffs too, Pat.
Ain't happening.
So let's get to the keys to the game tomorrow.
I want your final prediction, your keys.
My final prediction is, I think, 35-17.
You can't keep stealing my thunder, Pat.
I think Atlanta.
Yes, he
I think
did.
Atlanta gets the guard. I think Atlanta scores in the first quarter, and my boy Ray Young Ho Koo kicks about 3 field goals.
Young Ho Koo,
and they get a garbage time touchdown.
I like it, and I like the Bucs.
Well, the one issue I've got with Atlanta's offense is they got no running game. Arthritic knee, Gurley, garbage. Is Calvin Ridley. Now, the Bucs held Thielen and Justin Jefferson to 76 yards total last week.
Yes, sir.
Total. 2 all-pro receivers. No Julio. Not really worried about Russell Gage.
Right.
Hayden Hurst, decent. Levante, and, they can cover them. I think we bracket Calvin Ridley, we shut him out tomorrow. We shut him down tomorrow. And I think that kind of messes with Happy Feet Ryan tomorrow.
You know,
Nice.
after talking to you now, you got to bet another nickel on this game.
And I like that. It's the pressure. It starts up front with the pressure. Buccaneers get that pressure. You get Matty Ice. You ice Matty Ice, and without Julio, without Julio, and Hurst. I like you said, Hurst scares me because that's the reason why they bring Hurst in, the big free agent tight end. And of course, we saw Minnesota starting to do that last week because everybody going into the Minnesota game, they're like, oh, don't worry about Minnesota because all their tight ends are injured. And I'm like, but they still have guys that play tight end, and you know, he was finding them. They were finding Kirk Cousins was finding some of those tight ends. So you can look for Matty Ice to try to get the ball to Hurst tomorrow early. But like you said, Levante and Devin White across the middle, maybe one of them gets a nice interception, maybe even return for 6.
I think Tampa struggled with Minnesota. I think Tampa would have struggled more with Minnesota defensively, you know, trying to stop an offense, than they are going to be with Atlanta.
Oh, especially because of Dalvin Cook.
That's
Atlanta doesn't have Dalvin Cook
and
in
the
running
passing game with Jefferson and Adam Thielen.
Yeah,
you know,
that's just my opinion.
You could make a case for Justin Jefferson being the offensive rookie of the year.
Oh, without doubt.
The kid's having a Randy Moss type season. And Thielen is Thielen. You know, he's going to get you 100 grabs a year. He's going to get you 1,300 yards and get you 8 to 9 touchdowns. Dalvin, I mean, Minnesota's offense is no joke. If Kirk Cousins is on, they're on. And they're 10 times better than Atlanta.
Well, that's why
10 times better than Atlanta.
I've got Kansas City beating the Saints tomorrow, and then I've got Minnesota giving the Saints a good game next week. Because I was going to say
I want to talk about that game.
You want to talk about? Go ahead, talk about the Saints. What do you got for that game tomorrow, Harry?
I want to hear what Harry's ordeal is with that game.
Chiefs and Saints.
Because Harry, did you say, or I heard you say this morning that the line is 3?
Yeah, 3 points, Pat.
I am taking Kansas City.
Be careful,
and I'm giving the 3 points.
Be careful. That could be a trap game, and I'm going to explain why.
It is. Listen, with Mahomes in a dome, no snow, no cold weather, with Mike Thomas out, Breeze coming back from 11 broken ribs.
No, that wasn't only 11. You're wrong. I'm sorry. It wasn't 11. It was 123. It's up to now.
What is
that's his age.
Broken ribs.
Get the hell out of here.
I mean, that number keeps growing.
Yeah.
Pat, I do agree with you on paper. Look, I'm going to end up making this my game of the week, and I'm doing it with prejudice. And I'm going to explain why. 2-3 weeks ago, the LA Raiders were going to the Las Vegas Raiders were going to the Atlanta Falcons. It was the same exact line, and I smelled the fish. You do remember that, correct?
I do, yes.
Okay. And everybody on Buck Report and the people that watch these shows heard me say, if you are going to bet this game, which I am not, and I knew that the Raiders were a far superior team, don't bet them. You had to go with Atlanta in that game, and they just beat the brakes off of them. This is the same exact setup. Everything is supposed to bet the Kansas City Chiefs against the New Orleans Saints. This game is supposed to be -7 or -8 at New Orleans. It is -3, people. It is -3. Okay. Something is happening here that I don't know. And you're right.
Let me ask you this, Harry.
Sure.
You watch football games all week. Who's got a better defense? New Orleans Saints or the Miami Dolphins?
Miami Dolphins. No, I'm kidding. The Saints are good. I won't put words in your mouth.
Miami.
I like Flores in that defense.
No,
Miami's got a better defense.
Miami's probably got the best defense that nobody's ever heard of. And they're top 5 right now for me.
They still gave up 37 points to Mahomes on the road.
They also got 3 interceptions, too, and you're talking about a very young team that doesn't know how to win quite yet. And they're also playing with a rookie quarterback. I'm not trying to convince you to play the
Harry,
New Orleans Saints in this game.
The offense.
Right.
Harry, I'm not talking about Miami's offense. I'm talking about Miami's defense. They picked Mahomes 3 times. Yes, they had a fumble. But Mahomes also threw up 31 points on them. But what I'm saying is, and we said it earlier with Eric Bieniemy, when you've got the best quarterback in the NFL, the best wide receiver in the NFL, and the best tight end in the NFL, you're going to score points.
Yes, you are.
And if you shut those 2 down, you still got Sammy Watkins, you still got Mecole Hardman, you still got Demarcus Robinson, You still got Le'Veon Bell. You still got pretty good offense.
Pat, I agree with you. Why are they only 3-point favorites?
I don't know. Something's
There
going
you
on
go.
there.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I can't help myself. It's just this. What do they call it? Cynical?
Oh, hold on. Go ahead. Keep talking. I got a cramp.
Hold on.
Sorry.
Big word for Harry.
It's a big word for me.
Like ego.
No, but seriously, I mean, why are they only 3-point favorites? This is the whole
I don't
thing.
know. You're the betting man. You tell me, sir.
I'm going to tell you right now. I need to look something up really quick here because I think it's a trap game, and they might just trap me, and I'm going to end up making this my game of the week. Believe it or not, the over and under in this game is 52.5. I mean, Drew Brees is coming back after all those fractures in his ribs. He's going to have to feel rusty. The crybaby, what in the world is that crybaby's name? The wide receiver for the New Orleans Saints.
You talking about Michael Thomas?
Yeah,
who's out for the year?
Yeah, Thomas is done. He's done for the regular season. You know, how are they supposed to put up points? Kansas City's not that bad. Hold on, Pat. Kansas City's not that bad on defense. They can stop a running game pretty decent. Okay. But where are all these points going to be coming from? And it's 52.5. But yet this game is only -3. I'm going to say it now. My game of the week. You got to play. I mean, Pat, help me here. Kansas City -3. Mortgage your house. I'm only kidding. Disclaimer: keep your wagers low and your returns high. But Kansas City is my top pick of the week.
Ray's house.
you can't mortgage Ray's house. That he won't allow that.
Well, his wife and kid are out of town, so we're partying, right?
I hope Ray's wife is not hearing that. No, Ray is not partying. Ray is mowing the lawn. He's doing the dishes.
Hey. I just got a feeling that Ray's going to be dancing in something a little later tonight.
Nope. Ray's not dancing. Ray's going to be mowing the lawn, washing dishes.
No, tonight.
I have no idea. He's going to be watching the game.
He's gonna be dancing in the jersey that he got today.
That's true. That's right. He's going to be dancing in his new jersey. I got to tell you, man, he absolutely loved that.
You know, that is his favorite player of all time.
Yes, it is. I absolutely agree. You know what? While I have you on the phone, I'm going to go through these games with you, Pat. And I'm going to go ahead and give out my top 3 games of the week.
Hey, real quick, Harry, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Aaron Jones or DeAndre Swift?
I like DeAndre Swift in this game, believe it or not.
Against Tennessee tomorrow?
Yes.
Well, unfortunately, it's already locked. I can't change it. Oh, well.
Okay, but you did take my advice with Philip Old Man Rivers, correct? Down by the river?
I'm starting Rivers tomorrow.
Smart move. He's going to get you about 38 to 42 points.
Let's go through some games.
Okay, Houston is getting 7.5 points. Indianapolis is favored at home by 7.5, and the total is 51. As I promised Ray, I'm going to give him my bottom 3 games and my top 3 games. This is one of my bottom 3 games. Number 6, I like Indy minus the 7.5. I don't think Houston can keep up with them. And quite honestly, I couldn't tell you whether I like the over and the under. My second worst game, or my second least favorite game should be correct. The Cleveland Browns are minus 6.5 at the New York Giants. The total in that game is 44 points. I like the over. I do not like the spread in this game.
And are you factoring Daniel Jones not playing but Colt McCoy?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
The other game that I like is Seattle minus 6.5 at the Washington football team. I really like the Washington football team catching the 6.5 points. Now, if I may get a drum roll, here's my top 3 picks. First and foremost, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. If you can get them at 5 or 5.5, you lay the points. If they're at 6, be apprehensive, play them on the money line. This is a 3-team parlay, people. For what that is you pick 3 teams, you put about $10, 20, up to 100, whatever you want, and you generally are going to get 6 to 1 on your money, as high as 12 to 1 on your money. Here's my 3-team pick. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at this point are minus 6. The Chicago Bears are getting 3.5 points at Minnesota, and don't even take the points. They're going to win this game outright. And last but not least, my game of the week, the Kansas City Chiefs at the New Orleans Saints, minus 3, take it to the bank. If you take all 3 teams against the spread, 100 will get you back 600. But now that you sprinkled the Bears in there winning the game outright and they're an underdog, it now turns into 9-1, almost 10-1 on your money. How do you like those picks?
I like them.
That's what I thought. What other games you want to know about tonight? I'm sorry, tomorrow.
That's it, brother. That's it, man. You've laid everything out for me.
Everything?
Everything.
I can't possibly imagine that. So tell me, Pat, what are your keys to game for sure in this Tampa game?
Well, we got to, I think with Donovan Smith out, with Josh Wells playing tomorrow, I think they've got to have Gronk on the left side because normally he rolls on the right side. I think they've got to help because Atlanta does have some pretty decent pass rushers. They've got to protect Brady's blind side. I think if they shut Ridley down, because he's like he's a Swiss Army knife. He can line up anywhere. And you stop Hayden Hurst, I think the front four can get to Matt Ryan, and I think the front four can shut down that running game.
Okay.
I mean, that's my keys to the game. And then I don't think Brady throws, I don't think he throws 45 times tomorrow. I think he's anywhere from 25 to 32 times tomorrow. I think about 225 and a couple touchdowns.
Well, I'm kind of hoping that he doesn't have to throw that much tomorrow. I'm really hoping that they just have to run the ball a lot.
Well, the thing is, Fournette, he can handle a full workload. I would like to see Fournette handle a full workload because when we get into the January games, we're going to have to go on the road and it's going to be cold. We know we can pass. We need to be able to run the ball in the playoffs. I want to see what Fournette can do by himself.
What about LaShawn McCoy? And what about the young man, and I keep forgetting his name?
Keyshawn Vaughn out of Vanderbilt.
God, let me tell you something. After that hit he took in that one game that caused Tampa to lose it to the Bears, I'm going to tell you right now, they need to give that kid the ball because that boy is that young man's a baller.
Our future.
Football. I mean, God, can he run the football?
That's our future. So I think McCoy will be okay on third downs. But I think Fournette can catch the ball as well. But if Tampa is up and like you said, they pull the starters in the fourth quarter, let's see what the kid's got. Let's see what Keyshawn Vaughn can do behind that offensive line.
Yeah.
Like Ray said earlier, I'd like to see Tristan Wirfs go to left tackle tomorrow. I really would. I'd like to see them move. And like I said, Ted Larson, he is active. He's on the roster. He may play a little bit tomorrow, but I'd like to see them move Wirfs to left tackle for tomorrow. I want to see it because that is our future.
Okay. Hey, there's going to be 7 playoff spots coming up here in about 3 weeks. Let me ask you your opinion on this. It looks like the 7th playoff spot is going to come down in the NFC between 3 teams: the Arizona Cardinals, the Minnesota Vikings, and the Chicago Bears. Now, Chicago has 3 very winnable games, including the last game when Green Bay comes into Chicago. Arizona still has to play San Francisco. Minnesota, obviously, and Chicago are facing off this week. Do you think that if the Bears end up winning tomorrow, which is my 3rd favorite game of the week, do they have a legitimate chance of hitting that 7 seed? And how dangerous do you think this team is going to be, especially with that defense and the offense starting to click on all 8 cylinders?
Harry, I'm gonna roll with you on this one. If Trubisky cannot be Trubisky and manage the game like a Brad Johnson,
yep,
and that defense plays the way they play, Khalil Mack, Rogan, I call him Rogaine Smith, not Rogan. And I did read earlier today that Johnson is out tomorrow.
Johnson,
the rookie, Johnson, he's out tomorrow.
Oh, Jalen Johnson, the corner. I already knew that.
Jalen Johnson is doubtful. So
yep, they also have Buster Screen that can fill in for him, as well as my brain.
He's a slot corner, isn't he?
He's a slot corner that can also play outside. And they also have the young man from Utah, and I keep forgetting his name. Lord have mercy, but he's also pretty good as well.
Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Let me ask you this. Jalen Johnson, and I know what they did about 4 or 5 weeks ago where Dalvin didn't hit the century mark, but Justin Jefferson and Thielen had some pretty good games.
Yes, they
pretty
did.
good game.
Yes, they did.
Now, what concerns me about the Bears is and I don't look at home field advantage, but I look at grass, I look at cold weather, and I look at a dome. Okay, people play different outside, and Lambeau Field right now it's in the 20s. But
Lovely
I just
weather.
think they play different. I just think they play different in a dome, and I think Khalil Mack, Rogaine Smith, I think they come off the ball a lot quicker than they would, say, in Chicago at Soldier Field.
That's true.
What do you think?
I think that's true. And, just a couple of weeks ago, the Minnesota Vikings played the Chicago Bears, and that's when Minnesota actually beat them. You do remember that. I watched that game.
Remember that.
I watched that game closely. Chicago had that game pretty well in hand going into the fourth quarter, and 7 minutes to go. You know what happened? Three players simultaneously went down. Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan, and Akeem Hicks. That's where the other 30 yards came in when oh Lord, we've been on this show so long. I'm starting to see I'm getting scrambled.
Actually, I'm getting
Dalvin
ready,
Cook.
and I'm gonna stop you right there, only because I know you guys are getting deep. But did you give us all the rest of your picks? Because we're gonna be wrapping this show up.
You're not allowed to hear them. I gave my top three picks.
Let me hear the three
I am
picks
so
again.
sorry, fellas.
No, it's not you. I mean, I it's not because the Bama Gator game is on. It's just I'm getting cramps in my legs, and I didn't drink enough. I drank water today, but I didn't drink enough. So
Do you have to do the Josh Rosen chant?
no Josh Rosen chant.
Okay. No,
But-
my top three picks, Ray, were
I didn't know if Ray fell asleep over there. We didn't hear from him for a little bit.
I had to jump up and go actually stretch I get these, I doing my legs a lot, working at UPS. I do a lot of heavy lifting and bending over. And if I don't get enough fluids, and Saturdays, I usually don't drink enough water. And boy, my leg locked. You ever get one of those Charlie horses, Pat, where you just like, oh, it was like the
I
size
get
of
them all the time,
a softball in the back of my leg.
especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
my top three
All those
picks.
are the worst.
My top three picks
Top
were
three
a
picks.
parlay. That was the New Orleans Saints, the
Right.
Chicago Bears, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Nice.
Those are my top three.
Do you have to add a fourth team to make it big money, or no? It's just
Or
three.
you can make big money that way because you're going to play Chicago on the money line and not take the points. It now goes to 10-1 rather than being 6.
So you took the Saints to cover the point spread.
No, not the New Orleans Saints. Did I say New Orleans Saints?
You did.
I'm so sorry.
You took the KC Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs
Good.
-3, Tampa Bay -5.5, and the Chicago Bears don't take the points. Play them on the money line in this game.
3 picks.
Yep, those are my 3 picks. I already gave my other 3 non-sexy picks, if I'm not mistaken. One was the Washington football team,
Nice.
which I think they're going to cover the 6.5 points.
Yes.
And my iPad went down, and I have everything written down inside of there.
I'm trying to think who else is playing big games this weekend. But how about the
I got an upset
Indianapolis.
special for you, gentlemen.
Yes, please.
hear it.
Florida what?
Dallas
Oh.
over San Francisco tomorrow.
No, nice.
Now, he can come up with some deep
I like
picks.
that. I like that.
You know, Dallas is only – did you know that Dallas is only getting 3 points in this game?
I believe
I
it.
believe it.
I believe it. And that's a shout out to Bo Turner.
Bo Turner. Yeah, that's twice you got him, Pat.
Out to?
Let me read a couple more
Yeah,
of these comments,
too.
guys.
Yeah,
Hey, just remember, Bo Turner wears white boots with overalls and a black cowboy hat.
oh, Lord have mercy. He's going to kill you, son.
He likes the white boot
Likes the white
with his
boots.
unsweet tea.
Hey,
With
Pat,
his unsweet tea.
thanks for calling, brother, and thank you again for my gift.
No
I'm going to reciprocate here real soon, and we want to get you on here live one of these days. Come on down to the Deck Bar and Grill on a Sunday. I'd love to have you on the Bucks Report.
I'm gonna try. If I can't make it down there tomorrow, gentlemen, I'm gonna try to call in.
You got it, brother. Thanks so much, Pat, and we'll see you
Have a
soon.
great night, guys.
You
Pat,
too, brother.
Thank you, my brother, and go
Go Gators.
Love y'all.
Gators, go
Da-da-da-da.
Bucks.
Go Gators. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these comments, then we'll get out of here, and we'll give Rick Hughes a chance to set up his show. Adam Rivera says, Harry, don't forget to watch the Canelo Alvarez Caleb Smith fight on Days and Nap. Do you watch fight? You don't go.
I love fights, but I've never heard what Days and Nap is.
Bruce Cortez says, ja, no legaron.
Okay.
Okay. Tim also says, sometimes people go on interviews to solidify their current position where they're at, just like the normal job world. A buddy of mine recently got an $18,000 a year raise because he went on an interview. Definitely a good point. Bucks Report says PFN insider Benjamin Albright is hearing that some owners are hesitant about bringing in Bieniemy because his head coach interviews last season didn't particularly impress many. If you recall, he had interviewed with the New York Jets, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Miami Dolphins, and Cincinnati Bengals. All those teams hired somebody else. Definitely true. Let's see here. I'm going to skip a couple here. I got Johnny Dean says, sup, Deshaun Tisdale. Christopher Cole says Denver's in the red zone at the 2-minute warning. That's an oldie, but yeah. Hey, Christopher.
I covered that game.
Eckwood was a beast. Johnny Dean bringing in and talking about Rick Hughes talking about Jerry Eckwood. Terry, Denver scored. Yes, you did cover that game. Christopher Cole says touchdown. See if I can. Maybe it'd be great if my arrows would work, but they don't.
I like it that the people out there worry about if I'm going to hit these.
If you're going to cover or not.
Yeah, that's really
cool because they probably listen and they got a little scratch on it too.
There's always power in numbers, guys.
Johnny Dean says under review. Johnny Dean says Derek Brooks. Johnny Dean says Brooks has the gold jacket. Yeah, definitely one of the best linebackers in Buccaneer history. I didn't say he wasn't the best.
No, one of the best in all of football.
NFL. Okay. This is coming from a Bears fan.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And they have a linebacker tradition from here back to Chicago.
Oh, I know they do.
Derek Brooks is one of the best linebackers ever to suit up.
Solid. Tim says here's an old linebacker named Broderick Thomas, the Sandman. Definitely
loved him. Broderick
the
Thomas.
Sandman. Yeah.
Broderick Thomas was awesome.
Ray is burying the lead. He's getting an office. So Johnny's talking about my office. I'm putting together across. Yes, I'm getting an office. Johnny Dean says Florida has to stop the Bama run game. Since that won't happen, forget about it. Tim Witherspoon says final score 49-19. Buffalo clinches AFC East. Oh, clinches NFC East. Spellcheck's a son of a gun, isn't it? Johnny Dean says final score 48-19. Tim also says clinches, not clish. No, we knew what you meant, Tim. Christopher Cole says Bills have won the East for the first time since 1995, 25
Stop
years
there
ago.
Just for a second. I want to give a shout out to something.
Christopher Cole?
No, not just Christopher Cole, but everybody out there.
Yeah.
Because all these previous shows, about 3-4 weeks ago, I was riding the Buffalo Bills bandwagon.
Yes.
And I was on Rick Hughes' show, and we were talking about not so much who are the best teams in the NFC, because we all agreed that there were so many teams that could possibly make it to the Super Bowl in the NFC.
Right.
And when I gave my picks back then, I had Buffalo at number 2. People, I'm telling you now, Buffalo might be the best team in the National Football
League. They're coming together.
At this point right now.
Yes.
They are riding so hot. It's not even funny.
Yeah.
And let me correct myself. Not in the National Football League, in the AFC. They can go toe-to-toe with the Kansas City Chiefs right now.
It's going to be a good game.
And their defense is better than Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Sean McDermott's got them playing tough defense.
Without question. But they've had some holes this year. But this is, you know what? That team was a stud defensively out there, but they're getting a lot better right now.
Carl Hardy says 75. Wow, I would take the under. Tim says Harry's a deep dish kind of guy. Yeah, you are Chicago deep dish. Definitely.
You know what? Actually, I like it thin. I like Chicago thin. I can only eat one piece of deep dish, so I just feel like I didn't eat much pizza. So when I eat the thin, I can eat half a pie. So I feel better like that.
Johnny Dean shared an article that says the NFL has only 3 black head coaches. What will it be in 19? What will it be 19? Oh, I guess it's they should keep Todd Bowles. Christopher Cole says Todd Bowles is doing a good job, but we were just talking scenarios. What if Bruce Arians wasn't here? Carl Hardy says we are going to pound on Ryan tomorrow with no running game. Yeah, definitely. Deshaun Tisdale. Oh, where did Deshaun go? Deshaun Tisdale says, "What's up, guys? Fire those cannons." That's as far as I can get. Tim says defense with 9 sacks tomorrow. They had 6 last week, 9 tomorrow. Hey, you never know. They don't have much of a running game, and that defense is playing inspired.
9 sacks is a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of sacks. If they get 9 sacks, definitely play the under because Atlanta doesn't score.
Well, I'll tell you, if they get 9 sacks tomorrow, that means Devin White had 3 of them. Let's see here.
You get 9 sacks tomorrow, they're going to go to their 3rd string quarterback by half.
Yeah, no doubt. Carl Hardy says couldn't do that parlay with the Bears. Let's see. Best virtual video edit says laugh out loud. Johnny Dean says 7-0 Green Bay. That's right. The Green Bay Packers are on tonight. Mike DeRoche says thank God Peter Blake's mom's going home on Tuesday. Yeah, and we'll touch on that tomorrow. We're gonna talk more about that tomorrow. But it was good news to hear that that Sandra will be going home. Moms will be going home, and she's doing better. Best virtual edit says Quan Alexander's best. Ben Parrish says, love the show. Thanks, gentlemen. Go Bucks. Thank you, Ben. That's all the comments, my friend. So I think that's about it here. I think we had a good time tonight. We got a couple things off our chest. I saved myself from going on a diatribe. I'll save it for another time.
But I'd like you and everybody else to know that I don't generally bet on the Chicago Bears because I have a hard time, taking your heart out of the game. Like I said, when I watch many hours of football in different games and a lot of tape, I can only bet what I see. And if people pay attention, the vast majority of my picks, they're not sexy picks. It's really easy to take the Kansas City Chiefs to beat the New York Jets.
Right.
But it's really tough to take the Jets to cover the points. And I did that.
Yes, you did.
Okay. It's very easy to do that. So for people out there to think I'm just being a homer because I'm a Bear fan, that's not the case. I've bet against the Bears numerous times. This game is just a perfect game. It's got great value. And an old gambler once told me, price will always make up for the pick. Always.
There's your words of wisdom for the next Saturday night. Hey, Harry, brother, thank you very much. Had a good time.
I had a blast, Ray.
Thanks for everyone for joining us.
The callers were great. Everybody
We had a good
great.
time. The phone working good. We had to thank Peter Blake for coming by and setting up the board. We had a great production meeting today. We're gonna have a great show tomorrow. Don't forget to join Rick Hughes with What's Cooking in the NFC, What's Cooking in the South, coming up at 9:00 here on Bucks Report, and join us tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for a Buccaneer pregame show. For now, I'm Ray Kennedy, and this is Mr. Harry the Greek, and we're gonna say have a great evening. And let me figure out how to tune out. Here we go. Thank you all for joining in.
Have a good night.